Good morning, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute, joined today by my partner in crime, Algared.
Old man stiff Algared.
And we're not joined by John, who didn't turn up. The lazy bastard. He didn't turn up. So that's why it was called Between Two Farts, because I was stuck here with Algared and John. But John decided not to turn up. He'll turn up fashionably late, and I'm sure we'll all give him shit for it, which we are more entitled to do.
Yeah.
Now, Algared, you were telling me...
I got to be honest, John was going to be there because I really wasn't sure I could.
Yeah. You're in a bit of pain, aren't you, man?
I am still struggling with the back pain.
Yeah. Those UWE girls, man, they're keeping you up too late in your age, man. You've got to get just go down to one a day, right? One a day. Too many.
Yeah, old man Hurston doesn't play around with UWE girls. That's the United Workers Union. That's
just can't. You just can't say no when a young lady asks you for help. You just can't say no.
You know, as far as old man Hurston's concerned, UWE is United Workers Union. That's anathema.
I'll keep throwing you under that bus.
Throw people out of plane or out of ships onto the tarmac. You know, they're not nice people.
So ISC is already out as well, so we'll have a look at that shortly. But the other thing is, we're only going to go for 3 hours today because we originally, when Algared and I planned to do this all the way back when, we were only ever going to do it for 2 hours, and we've been doing it for 4 hours for such a long time. But Algared is just a little bit under the weather at the moment, so we're going to trial it and see how it goes for 3 hours. Also noticing it in the last hour, it tapers off a bit, so it tells us that you guys are getting a bit sick of it at that length as well. So yeah, we're going to drop it back to about 3 hours and just to see how that goes, see if it's a little bit less long in the tooth for people. If we don't get to your question, I'm sorry, but yeah, too bad. But we will try to do as many as we can.
I got the idea that the 3 hours was usually, we catch people while they're finishing off their Friday afternoon work, or their Thursday afternoon work, and it's they drive home and they drop off when they get home.
Yeah, I think we start, well, you guys will tell us in chat, but it's usually about 2 p.m. in New York time is what I worked out. So that means if we go for 4 hours at 6 p.m., which means we're going an hour past when they finish work, and that's why it drops off in the last hour. So that's what I was feeling anyway. So I don't know, I'm sure you guys will let us know in chat. But yeah. All right. I'll have to turn on the bot because I'm slack.
Yep. Don't forget to turn on the bot. Oh, I'm asking for myself. Do we have not a tuna this week?
I don't have it set up, but I can set it up pretty quickly. That
wasn't a question of that wasn't saying, hey, are we doing it? It was literally me asking, are we doing it?
Or did we? I just forgot that I did it. And I've also realized I've got to set it up to draw a new one too. Which I've done. See, I'm totally unprepared, as per usual. It is becoming increasingly annoying.
I think we'll leave it this week then.
You want to leave it then? I do have it.
I think we'll leave it this week.
I do have it advertised though, Algared. That's all. So
oh, did you? Oh, did they?
All right. So bot has started. Bot is going, but I can do it pretty quickly. I can do it. I can do it on my knee while we talk. Hold on.
And Midgards, I'm sorry you enjoy 4 hours, but this week I honestly couldn't cope. I don't think I could manage 4 hours this week.
Yeah, it's been ongoing for quite a while, hasn't it?
The last 3 weeks, the back's been gone, and it's it's life. It's old age.
All right, if you want to make the setup quick, Algared, the 100i, I do believe we've actually got another Mustang to give away.
We do have another Mustang to give away,
but we've also I can't.
Was it 2?
Hang on. No, they gave us one for the Foundation Festival. They gave us one, and I've given the 100i to
Lemming for
the guessing for
the brackets. The brackets comp
for the shit showdown. I gave it to him for the shit showdown for the guessing comp. Yeah, that's what I did.
Yep. So occasionally we do run things on our Discord channel, which we do get to give prizes away for. Another reason why to join our Discord. There you go.
There's apparently other people starting to do competitions like that now as well. I saw one on Facebook the other day. But they're only guessing the top 4, not the whole lot. So I believe it or not, I can't find Nick Fury anywhere. I don't know where I put him. And that was the one that I was probably going to add.
You may have tossed him because we'd done him and we didn't have another one.
Did we do him already? I think
the Fury. Oh no, we didn't do the Fury.
I don't remember doing him, so I've lost him somewhere. He's up here.
No, we hadn't sorry, I was getting it mixed up with the Mustang.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was getting it mixed up with the Mustang, but I was.
Shit. I do not have something to present to represent.
There you go.
The new ship.
Well, it doesn't matter. We'll skip it this week.
Sure.
And if people complain and say we falsely advertised, it's on me. I'm making the call. There you go.
All right.
I'm making the execute decision.
What did we end up doing? What was this one again? You're gonna remember because you picked this one.
I can't even see the picture. Hang on.
It's the guy from. It's one of the cats. It's one of the cats from Wing Commander. The
Kilrathi.
Kilrathi. And why did we do that? I don't know.
It was.
God. You know when it was a month ago and we can't remember? That's called we're old now, Algared. We can't.
Oh mate,
Oh dear.
Yeah, I can't remember. What have we got? Not the Aries.
No, it was something to do with the cat. I know that much. Oh well.
Well, I can't even remember.
I think we ended
Can't
up.
remember.
Yeah, it's all good. All right, well, we won't do that this week. I'll just leave that for this week.
Because we're too far behind and we're too...
All right, let's move over.
And hello, Tom Van Doom.
Right, do we want to go straight over to IRC then?
We may as well go straight over to IRC. Don't forget, put your questions in with the word question, so our bot will pick them up. It is a shorter show, so make sure you do get your questions in if you want to have a chance of doing them. If you really want to get your question answered straight away, you can super chat, but there's never any need to super chat. It's always appreciated and loved though, and always humbles us and makes us feel really weird and wonderful and all the other stuff. And don't forget, like, subscribe, and hit the bell because it makes us feel warm and fuzzy.
I have to put you beside yourself, Algared. Hold on.
You do.
If I can find it again, I have lost it.
You would have to double it if you want to put me beside myself. There you go, I'm beside myself.
Cool.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you've got smaller again because you moved the camera away.
I know, I'm sorry.
It's all right. Now I understand what you're saying about this, by the way. It really does sound similar to what we did, but I don't think there's any. Well, do you really think he named it in the last 4 days?
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, so we called it Shit Showdown, and Algared's saying, look, I can't even point properly at the moment. He's made another shit joke because it's like, this sounds like ship, as in this sounds like shit. So he's done the opposite of what we did.
Yep.
But yeah, anyway.
It made me chuckle anyway.
Yeah.
I really don't think they did, but it just made me chuckle.
Oh, maybe it's a great minds think alike type thing. All right.
And Phil's never differ, so.
Now, Algared, the last few times I've tried to do this, the sound has not worked for you.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but I was streaming to someone recently and they had the same problem. They couldn't.
I think it was Paul who had the same problem.
I think I know what it is though. I think it's in here.
Or was it Noob? No, it was Daily Noob. Daily Noob, when he was on the other week, had the same problem.
Well, tell me if you can hear it. I think I know what it is. I think I might have fixed it.
Yep.
Tell me if you can hear it or not. Here we go.
I've often said that audio is the one thing that you can play a game without. You don't notice audio until it's not there.
You can watch a movie or play a game without the sound. You would only have like half the experience, I would say.
I'll listen to it on YouTube.
Yep. Sorry, man. I'll have to have a look at it after the stream.
It'll just be on delay.
Yeah. Right.
Challenge for us is to make it worth listening to our sounds, listening to our work. We've really got to...
I just realized I need to turn that filter off. Sorry, guys. I don't turn the filter off. You can't hear it because of the music. Bear with me. Wait, why can't they? Can you guys even hear us? That's really weird. They can't even hear us, to be honest. Oh, because it's down the bottom. I'm an idiot. Right. Yep, check. Filters. Turn that off. Right. Sorry about that, guys. This one. All right, here we go. I'll rewind it just a tad.
Without the sound, you would only have like half the experience, I would say.
The challenge for us is to make it worth listening to our sounds, listening to our work. We've really got to earn the attention.
We try to make games sound natural, and the less you hear it, the better it is for us, because it means you are into this world and it's believable. I think that was one of the main aspects. So when it comes to making a ship, the art makes it look really good. The props make it look believable from the inside. But when it comes to audio, when the audio is done, this is really what it's bring to life. Ship ambience is like pretty much everything that happens when you walk inside your ship, sounds you can hear that makes it a space, basically.
If you were to consider ambience in painting, the ambience for us would be represented as the first layer of paint, the background, on which we apply much more detailed and curated strokes of flair and interest.
We call that the bed because that's the thing you lay on, basically. You rely on that to make it believable. And it's one thing you don't really hear. You don't pay attention to it, but it's there and it makes it believable as a space you're in. And it can really sell the immersion of a ship.
Presently, this is all done by hand and it takes a lot of time. So myself and Corentin have banded together to make overarching systems which will take less input and make all the ship systems unified, and in turn these ambiences will become already generated on the ship at runtime, because we know how a Drake ship's supposed to sound, we know how a Misk ship's supposed to sound. We can implement that before the ship even exists in order to save us time and then allow us to spend more time on the really characterful elements, the thrusters, the moving parts, anything that really brings that higher level of quality to the ship.
I'll ask you a question, Algared. Have you ever seen this guy before? Algared, you there?
Sorry?
Have you ever seen this guy before? I think he's new. I think they've changed audio. Yeah, I think they've changed audio people. Because he's not the same guy that I remember before. But maybe it's just me.
Yep. Trying to pause it there, I just wiped up the video, so I've got to back up to the beginning, which is most annoying.
Well, I'm up to 2 minutes and 23 seconds. I don't know if that helps, but and then just drop 10 seconds off. Yeah.
You give me a few seconds and I will be there, because it's now gone to an ad and it won't let me get out of it. How annoying.
All right. Well,
I'll let you know when I'm at 2 minutes and whatever.
Yep. I've already started because I can't make everyone wait for you.
So with physicalized components, we thought it would really be a good idea to have them be the center of attention for the rework of ship ambiances, meaning you can have all sorts of different components in your ship, shield generator, power plant, all that stuff. These would have sounds attached to them, being reactive and all that stuff, depending on what you do in your ship. And that would then fill all the space inside the ship.
We envision the excitement of a player switching on their quantum drive and hearing the quantum fuel traveling through the pipes from the fuel tank and bind into the quantum drive before you engage quantum travel, and hearing that surge back with a backfire towards the quantum fuel tank, and then you feel the inertia of the ship traveling forward.
There's some new helmets there, Algared, that I've not seen before. At 3 minutes 46. They are way more detailed than that's like final polish art stuff for Squadron 42. And the other thing I'll point out is it is technically characters sitting in a chair with animations we haven't seen before. I almost wonder if that's part of a cinematic from Squadron 42, to be honest with you. But maybe I'm wrong.
Or would it a great speed?
Those helmets remind me of Star Wars, you know, the X-wing pilot helmets.
Yep, look like they're straight off the flight deck almost, don't they?
It's red 1. Obviously, this is blue 1 and blue 2 because they've got the blue strip on their helm.
Look at the fucking microphone though. It's so damn chunky. We're down to little lapel mics here, and in the future they get fatter. That makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
No, it's the same as our ships. You know, we've got automated weapons and missile guided systems, and what have we got here? We've got 1942.
It's when you find out, Algared, it's not actually a microphone, it's a blaster pistol. It just comes down and shoots the guy that won't shut the fuck up.
That's right.
Which really make the player feel like they're on a moving ship going through space.
This would modulate depending on the amount of energy you use during your flight sessions. So if you were to walk around your ship, if the pilot is going really fast and using a lot of different systems, the sound would react to that and create a more busy ambience. If you would walk to the actual component itself, you would hear it in action live.
That idea is that idea of the components actually making different sounds and that on the ship is really good as well, because it also means you'll be able to, those sounds of the component is also going to give you clues as to which component is playing up when they're starting to
or
give
even
those different sounds as well.
And even different manufacturers having different sounds as well. I was sitting there for a minute thinking about the like listening to the fuel come down the lines. I'm like, is that really required? But it could actually, if you've got a really good ear, that could actually give you some other stuff. Like you could, like that follows onto other things. So if like you could know exactly where to shoot to cause a fire or something like that. Like, I'm being dramatic there, but you get what I mean. Like if you get your timing right, you'll do stuff that other people.
On the other side, if you've got a really good ear, which I don't, but if you've got a really good ear, if you've got a fuel leak, you'd actually hear. That'd give you an idea where your fuel leak is as well, so you'd be able to then change for relays or
a blockage as well,
or
where it's kind of stopping.
So it gives a lot more down the track. It could really open the door for that engineering gameplay. Not saying it will, but it could.
Moving from the inside out, we move to thrusters. Thrusters really convey the propulsion of the ship going forward. As a pilot or passenger, you should be able to know or feel what the ship is doing and how it's traveling through space, regardless of where you are on the ship. We need to tell players that are maybe sorting cargo in the cargo bay, which direction the player is traveling. Are you rolling? Are you evading enemies?
We wanted to rework that to make it more up-to-date with the new systems, especially master modes. The idea was that in combat mode, your ship must be more reactive, much more aggressive, with a limited speed range. So that's what we were trying to express with in the thrusters.
Wherein we have multiple modes of flight, which really affect how the thrusters work sonically.
You would hear less filtering, like more high frequencies. You would feel the weight of your ship when going really fast. You want to hear that you are in combat, and this is the thing that maintains you living, basically. So yeah, you want to take care of that ship.
Yeah, kill that cause there. That's right.
Nah, he's cool, calm, and collected. He's got his little fan, Algared.
And finally today, impact, things colliding with the hull of the ship. The plan for impact is to move to a more localized, descriptive version of what we have currently.
When you are in combat, when you get hit, you want to know how you got hit and where you got hit. So that's where the rework of impacts come into place. You need to know exactly where you got hit and at what extent. If your ship got badly damaged, this needs to be communicated.
Impacts from ballistics, laser weapons and bullets will tell the player the sound on the exterior of the ship, whereas vibrations will give more information about the stress that that impact is having on the ship. All these things are affecting the hull of the ship, and we need to sort of let the player on board know whether they're a pilot or not, what sort of environment they're flying through.
Crashing is a big thing that audio doesn't support well at the moment. We are trying to make that right, especially crashing into ground, landing, all these interactions with bigger objects. We want to reflect that, and we want to make sure that your passengers will know if you make slight flight mistakes, let's say.
You'll be aware that your pilot's doing a good or bad job, depending on the debris or the impacts that are happening on the hull, and you can let them know that they're not doing particularly well.
And the pea shooters killed the gladius, the gladiator, of the gladius.
So that was a glimpse of the many things we're working on for ship experience, and we really are trying to bring this experience to the next level.
So altogether, what we call the ship experience is greatly improved by these overarching systems which play back and forth within each other, allowing the player to really feel that they're in a living, breathing ship, and that their ship is unique amongst other ships. You might have another loadout with the components to someone else with the identical ship, and this will make your Sonic experience unique, in which other games really can't portray.
We hope you'll enjoy all the new stuff we bring in the future.
So what did we learn this week? Well, hopefully between the Claudia show and this, we've showcased just a little bit about why audio is so important to creating a truly immersive experience for our players. Why it can be an important means for pilots, passengers, engineers, and attackers alike to gauge a situation and respond appropriately. And that the audio experience continues to be improved and iterated upon just like any other aspect of Star Citizen. So for Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the process of game development with you. And we'll see you all here next week.
I just realised I haven't set the title on...
Did I get everything on the list? Yeah, I think so.
I need to go do my vote. Someone in chat just reminded me. Apparently the Redeemer is winning Algared on the ship Showdown.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh well.
Oh,
I think I've voted maybe once or twice this year.
Well, I've got to vote for
in the past.
Got to vote for my boy if it's winning.
In the past,
the ships for sale, Algared. We're gonna have to have a look at that too. Hang on, I'll go back for that. Oh, it's a free fly. Okay.
in the past I voted every session, every event. This time I can't be bothered, to be honest. I'm that invested in the Showdown this year. It's just yeah, whatever. And I know that sounds horrid, but yeah. So what are the ships this time? Let's have a look.
So I got an Arrow and a Redeemer is today's, and apparently the Redeemer is winning, and people are disgusted. It'll be all the low flyers that are disgusted, like the PvPers and stuff like that.
Yep. I really do hope of those two, I really do hope the Redeemer does win, because it is the group gameplay ship, and the Arrow's overhyped.
Well,
the Arrow's overhyped.
I would say from the margins, it's very unlikely the Arrow is going to win at this point.
Yep.
But that means that secures a skin for the Redeemer. What do you reckon here, Vulture Terrapin?
I'd love the Terrapin.
Yeah, I like salvaging that, but I'm right with you. It'll give the Terrapin a skin. It has absolutely 0 skins, which also means it'll open up for more skins in the future. So that's a really good thing.
Yeah, and of those, like of the two ship, Terrapin or Vulture, they're both good ships. I really do like the Vulture. I do like it's clunky, it's got those new kind of Drake groaning creaking sounds, and the more they bring in those sound play aspects, there's more that's going to be enjoyable to do.
Really, I would be happy with either, but if it is a preference, I have to pick the Terrapin for what I said, because it's a small ship. A lot of people own the Vulture, so yeah, Terrapin a little bit more expensive, but it just doesn't have any skins. It needs a bit of love. Corsair and Constellation, Algared. What's your kind of take there?
Well, I hate the Corsair. I've got a problem with both those ships. I think both of those ships have too many guns, too much firepower in the control of the pilot for a multi-crew ship.
Yeah, I can see that actually.
And the Connie's slightly left because those extra, those extra wing mounts on the Corsair are really matching up with the P-52. And that's, you need a second part. You need a second player for that on the Connie. So the Connie's not as bad as the Corsair for that, but they're both just, the guns are just over too much firepower for the pilot. And their turret gunners have pea shooters.
For me, it's so close, so it just comes down to the one I own. So I'm probably gonna have to go to Constellation. But everything you said is right. They both have issues.
But I do prefer the Connie over the Corsair.
So yeah. I think I'm going to be honest. If I'm like kind of take myself out of it and put the community, I think the Corsair might take it though, just because it's the new one, and the Connie has lots of issues. So I'm expecting the Corsair to take that one.
Even though I do think the Connie flies better than a Corsair, because but that's my personal preference, and my bias coming through. A Drake ship has to be really, really good to win me over, because I'm not a Drake fan.
Do I need to ask about this one?
Which one's that one?
600i versus Cutter.
I hate the 600i. I've always hated the 600i.
Well, Cutter it is.
I hated the 600i from when it came out and was a challenger to the Connie and said, this is the Connie competitor. Not a bloody Connie competitor. It's closer to a freaking turret than a Connie. It's so huge.
I can't believe it beat the 400i. I really can't. I thought the 400i had that by a landslide, but I was wrong as shit. It seems to be these luxury people, bigger is better type of thing. So,
well, if you're looking at the 600i, 600i does have that whole rework thing coming, and we have seen snippets that give the idea of what that rework's going to be. And you got to admit that rework does change the 600i from being an absolute piece of.
Yeah, but you've got a ship that has multiple best in shows already, and one that has none.
Yep.
So I'm like, share the love around, That's kind of where I come from.
Yep.
And smaller ship, more people get access to the skin. It's
I fully expect the Cutter's going to win.
Taking the analogy I gave, but yeah, I do. I'm fully expecting. So what it will come down to will be. I'm hoping it's hard to call, but if I had to guess it, I think Redeemer obviously. So the last three. I wish I could go back and look at the number of votes, but they've taken them off, so you can't see. But Terrapin was only about 3 or 4 in front. It was about the same here. Yeah, so that's the hardest one to call for me, Vulture and Terrapin. But then I think the Corsair is going to take it because it's the new one, and I think you're right on the Cutter. And so then you'll get the Corsair versus Cutter, and I think what that'll come down to is all the people that love the Corsair, but then everyone that's pissed that theirs didn't win. And they weren't, and so, yeah, I think that's what's going to carry the Cutter pretty much, at least to the second one. I
think also the fact that the Cutter is such a good ship for starters, so it means everyone gets a ship.
Yeah,
and if the CCUs for the ship Showdown also end up giving you an LTI for that ship, then the Cutter becomes it's another LTI token. So depending on what they do with that, could even boost those LTI, those CCU sales and stuff that people use for the Cutter as well. So,
all right. Well, what about the Redeemer, Vulture, Terrapin? Which do you think the Redeemer's got the ability to beat the Vulture and the Terrapin? Because I can't pick between the Vulture and the Terrapin. I think that's probably the closest one on there. For me,
yeah. I think if a Terrapin goes through, I think the Redeemer would win because it's got more gameplay at the moment.
And the Vulture.
But if a Vulture goes through, then the Drake fanboys will get it over the line, I think.
Okay, interesting. I think the Redeemer is very popular because of bounty hunting. I think that's why.
Yep.
And if you actually look through it, there are not a lot of combat ships. So like literally, that these are your combat ships kind of up here, and that's their last kind of one. So I think I don't know. We'll see. But I regardless, once you get to here, you get a skin, guys. So you can kind of relax once you get to there. These last 2 votes are just for an additional skin, and
it's just the bragging rights.
Yep. Yeah, and then so if it comes down to the cutter, vulture, I really can't pick it between. I think you're right. I think it would be vulture redeemer that ends up here. But yeah, I can't really pick which one it would be. I'd probably personally lean towards redeemer, but that's personal bias, so I kind of got to take that out of it a bit. So let's just say redeemer, vulture up here. I think the cutter will take it over the Corsair for opposite reasons of what you said, for kind of like the vulture up here being Drake. So yeah, I think it'll come down to redeemer, vulture, cutter for the final spot, just based on what we've got here. But
and I think the cutter takes it. And I think the cutter takes it, A, because it's small, B, because, it gives an option for everyone. I'd like, as much as I really do like the cutter, I really do like the cutter. It's a fun little ship. It's a nice little ship, but I would really like it not to win because it's already got so many skins. I'd rather have seen a ship that didn't have any skins get through. I'd like to have seen
again, Algared, once it gets to level 4 here, that's kind of why I want the Terrapin to get to here. So I do kind of want. I do hope the vulture loses, not just so, because once the Terrapin gets to here, they have to put it into the skin system, so they're going to make more skins for it, right? So that's why I just want the Terrapin to get to there, and I think a lot of people, if they're thinking, as you said, the vulture's got a bunch of skins already. They're not that expensive. Terrapin's got none at all, and if you actually go down this list and look at all the ones that didn't have skins, I think it was the Fury has skins, but the only one that didn't is the Terrapin. So it'd be really nice to see the Terrapin to get up and at least
Terrapin
get one
and 890 didn't have skins.
Oh, and the 890 too, yeah.
But there was no way the 890 was ever going to.
No,
you had to put the you had to put the 890 up against another ship that did similar things. So people always used to say that it was an explorer because it's a touring ship. So
yeah, it would have been up against one of these two. So you tell me, do you reckon it would have beaten the 400i or the 600i? And I don't think it would have beat either of those personally, because it's just more expensive. So I think it would have got it pushed out regardless personally.
But the majority of people voting, I think that would have put it more with the with the Origin fans going, picking that, weighing in. But I would have put it more against the Carrack. Would have been the choice I'd have put it up against, because people used to argue that it was an exploring ship. It's a touring ship.
If you're going to do that,
and it's a bigger exploring ship. So
if you're going to do that, that would have been the 600i. It would not have been the 890 jump, in my opinion. But
if you've got the 600i, the 890 jump, and 400i, you put the bigger one up against the best explorer.
And then you've also got, what do you do with the Terrapin or the Carrack that you don't put there? So I think they would have sat there and weighed this all up quite heavily, I think.
I don't think they necessarily did.
Well, it's like we said in our video, Algared. I think one of the things Paul brought up was really good. It would be really good if there was 4 categories and it was size-based. And that way you get 1 small skin, 1 medium skin, 1 large skin, and 1 capital skin of that variety. And that means almost everyone gets a skin type of thing. And then one of those 4 get a second skin. So
and that meant the 890 would have been up against something like a Reclaimer or
So I don't know if you guys watched the episode that me and Paul and Algared did, but my plan for next year, and I'm calling it right now because I'm hoping they're going to come out and chop me off at my feet and actually change how this is done. But my plan for next year is we do the Cutlass Steel. They will make $0 off that. So we pushed the Cutlass Steel up and voted all the way to the top as a message to say no. Like we say, this is the best ship in the game for skins because you'll make no money off it.
And I know I saw someone message in chat and saying, "What, you don't want the game to make any money?" No, it's nothing against. We don't want the game to make money. We're trying to say, hey,
we've proven you can make money with the MPUV. They made a shit. They were worried they were going to make nothing, and they made a killing because they sold so many of the MPUV, right? And so we've proved that it works regardless. And Paul and us and a whole bunch of other content creators pushed the MPUV. We'll do it again. We'll just do it with the Cutlass. This time we'll go the other way so they won't make money. Right? We did it to show them that you can make money. But now they said they were going to change it, and they haven't changed it. And it's been 2 years.
Yep.
And last
Anyway.
year, yeah, we tried to do it last year, and they pipped us at the post because we we're going to do the PTV. Anyway,
I got to admit, of those ships that I'd like to see go through, I'd like to see the Terrapin go through, just because I love the lore in it. It's got great lore, it's got great story, it doesn't have a skin. But have I voted at all this year? I voted for 2 or 3 ships. I can't even remember what I voted for.
yeah.
So, I think I voted Redeemer.
Yep.
I think I voted Redeemer. I think I voted, and I think the other ships I voted for didn't get through, but I haven't really. I've voted twice, I think, 2 or 3 times out of this. Yeah. Anyway.
Hey, Algared, look at this. Now this will be in United States dollars. So let's see if I go down the bottom and no, I can't.
Convert it.
Wait. If I go back up here and go to the pledge store, bear with me, guys. This is the Australian. We're going to un-Australianize it for you, so you don't have to math.
Because Australian mathing is horrid at times.
Well, I wish it had 2 separate prices, like the full price, like the one without tax, and then it with tax.
Yep.
That would be so much nicer. But if you're listening CIG, that is what I would like, because then it shows you how much tax you're paying. So yeah, full, non-tax price, amount of tax, and total price. That's what I'd like to see.
Yep.
All right, so now I've done that. If I refresh this, fingers crossed. I don't know if you saw. I don't know if you saw that on the screen then, Algared, but holy shit!
That is a.
Why would you pick that when you can pick that? That's what I'm going to say.
But I do think those 2 ships have become the standard starter ships. Like, it used to be the Aurora and the Mustang, and but those 2 ships
makes me wonder why they're offered, Algared. Are they seeing lots of sales of them? So they're realizing from their own data that these are 2 of the most popular starter ships.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And for me, it makes sense. I've always said, when I was looking for starter ships, I always favoured the Aurora over the Mustang, because in the Aurora you actually could get up and walk around the ship a little bit.
Yep. And
that is the thing that sets Star Citizen aside from every other space sim. You can be flying your ship and walking around.
Yep.
Again, these are highlighting, these 2 ships highlight that thing that makes Star Citizen so.
Let me throw this at you then.
Fantastic.
Do you reckon if they do a gold pass, we might go back and see increases in the Aurora and the Mustang, as in size, like they make them more like these, or do you think they will keep them as they are?
Well, the Mustang, the only ship that's got that ability to do that is the better.
Yep. So it essentially just be giving that to the others, and then the Aurora itself gets a little bit of a rework, so it like you could maybe turn it sideways and put a bed at the back and make the thing a little fatter, and then put a little kitchen or something in there. Or do you think they'll just leave it bare bones as it is? I don't know.
I think if they added the box to the Aurora and the Mustang, so that the carry box was like a 32 container system or whatever it was they have on the back, you could actually walk inside.
We're at that point where we could do that now, aren't we? Because of the containers going. You're right. I only just thought of that.
If they add the big box to the end and it's got a container, like you open up the back and you can walk inside to the cargo area, that kind of then raises those 2 ships up, where you can be inside internal cargo area where you can stack stuff. But you look at the Mustang. The Mustang was horrid for doing the box missions. The Aurora, you can do the box missions, but you half the time will kill yourself when the boxes fall over or block up that little area. So they're horrid for that.
I'm going to be honest with you, Algared. I think a really good thing is these are all free fly now, so people can come in and try the game and try out these greater ships that we voted for. But I also think for those of you that don't any of these ships, or you do own certain ships, go try them.
Yep.
And legitimately pick the ones that you think are best. Because I'm going to be honest, these are some of the best ships in the entire game. I think the only one that clearly needs a rework is the 600i, but it will be a lot better when it's done. I'll give you that as well.
Yeah, and we know it's getting work done, and we've seen indications of I've got to keep remembering to look straight or look up, so I'm not looking down.
I'm not looking at you. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I know. I just every so notice if I look at the monitor, I'm looking kind of down. Wherever I'm looking.
I've given up on it, Algared. I'm always looking down when I'm looking at the monitor, so I gave up after a while. I can't get the camera in a position I need to get it into, so yeah, that's all good. All right. Yeah. I think the other one that's actually
it must be 7 o'clock.
That's
close to it.
Yeah, that 20 minutes. But that's the other one that's in a pretty bad state at the moment is the Andromeda. But everything else I think is pretty good. Corsair's just got some issues because of the big wings, but that'll get fixed in time. Cutter is exceptional. Arrow's exceptional. Redeemer has it's been nerfed in speed a little bit, but that'll come back when they do the balance pass because it's been designed for the nerf for the light fighter meta at the moment. Yeah, Terrapin can't do a lot, but it'll be one of the first ships with scanning. It's one of the first engineering test beds, and it's what's the other thing it's got? It was the first ship to get like the component rooms and stuff like that.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'd like to think this will be the first ship to also get armor.
Yeah, I'd love that too, and I'm really fingers crossed of a variant for this based on that ad from last year, and I'm hoping it comes this year. Quite honestly, we know there's a bunch of reworks on the roadmap, and we've been talking about low hanging fruit because they're getting Squadron 42 working, so they've been doing a lot of variants, and I'm hoping this is one of them. Well, they kind of put it in that trailer, Algared, so they've done the skin. Give us the ship, goddammit, So yeah.
I've said it numerous times. I love the Terrapin. I love the lore and the stories and the variants that are talked about in lore for the Terrapin. It's a ship that just has a nice feel. It's also one of those ships that doesn't look like a plane.
Now, Algared, I don't know where to go here because I don't look this up very often. So I'm showing my inexperience here. But is there somewhere I can go look at the current referral award? Because that would be interesting to show people.
That would be in your hangar.
Yep.
Then I think there's a setting. Then in settings, and I think you can look at the referrals and go down that line.
Referral program, cool.
Yeah.
So let's see what. So it actually shows you what the current referral.
I think you can see the current the list, and there might be somewhere else you can look it up on the website, but I wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah,
I'd have to Google that. I have to search myself.
If anyone's got a link, link it to me, please. But I don't know. God, look at Morph. He's like, man, he's only got like 10 javelins. Like he needs another one. That's fine. Good on you, Morph. Well done. But why is he wasting all the referrals then? Share the love around, bitch. He could have given 10 other people javelins. Anyway,
CIG keeps saying they're going to rework those referrals so they become better and bigger and
All right. I'll have a look for that, or if one of the mods are in, can you link that to me if you get time? All right, Algared, we got any questions in?
I will have a look, but I haven't looked yet. We'll run out of time, and then people will get annoyed because we haven't answered any questions.
There's about 9 questions in there, so yeah, we've got.
Okay, so Tom Van Duren has a question for us. Tom Van Duren says, as soon as I get back to the screen so I can see that there. Just got to shuffle the screens around so I can see. Damn it. Suffering with old man syndrome. Don't worry about it.
That's fine. I'll put us.
Old man syndrome's doing it again. All right, so old man Duren. Tom Van Duren says, when did the M2 get an upgrade in cargo? It is 522 SCU at the moment, but on CIG's site it's less.
Really? So what did you say? 500 and what?
522 SCU for the M2, and he's on the Matrix of Lies. I think he's saying it says it's less. And when physical armor is in game, do you guys think it will be lower? I think the M2 falls into the same category as the
Starfield Gemini, and you're absolutely correct.
Starfield Gemini and the Idris M.
So the interesting thing about the Hercules series is the C2 has more than the Caterpillar, but the M2 has less. That's on the stats they used to have. But if they are changing that, they may change it. Everything's subject to change. But yeah, you are right. If that is the case, but I don't have an M2, so I can't confirm what you're saying. But I'll believe you on that is the case.
Yeah. I know that it used to be listed as having less than the others, as you were saying. I've always expected it's not the cargo space that's the problem. It's the fact that the engines, it's got the same engines as the other one, and then it doesn't have the same lift capacity because of the extra weight, so it struggles to lift the same. So they just say, no, it's rated for this much cargo. It doesn't matter if you've got the space. So, and I think that's the same idea on the Starfarer Gemini, and also the M2 versus the Idris M versus the Idris P. At least originally, if I recall correctly.
Okay, so the last free fly referral bonus that I can find, Algared, was for the STV in green.
Yep.
With the green screen. I can't find any more at the moment.
Oh, you're looking for a referral bonus. I wouldn't have a clue where they are.
I was still looking. That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, you obviously saw because you were looking at my screen. Wait, have I switched that back over for you? No.
No, I was looking at. Yeah. No, you hadn't. It was just the twin heads.
Man, it's driving me nuts having one monitor. I got to get that second monitor. Hopefully next week we can get that. I've got to switch the audio back to as well.
Yep. Otherwise the audience will complain. Okay,
Yes.
so
Fixed. All right. Back to questions when you're ready, Algared.
Yep. Getting that one done.
Oh wait, no, Algared, I do have one thing I wanted to talk about.
Mhm.
There was two things I wanted to talk about actually. The first one is the whole sea. Have you had a
Yep.
chance to go in game and mess around with it?
I have had a look at the whole sea. I do like the extending corridor. That's pretty cool. I couldn't find the quick key to do it. I had to find it on the dashboard in the ship
Yeah.
to expand and shrink it. But I did like that.
The dick jokes are come thick and fast about this ship for the next while. I can tell you that right now. But yeah, they've done just everything wrong with it. It's like the way it's shaped. It's ribbed for her pleasure down the sides. It's like go gadget dick when you extend it. Like all the jokes under the sun. So I'm just getting them all out before. Okay. Daily Noob says to extend.
It's more phallic than a Connie.
Yeah. So yeah, and it's just going to get girthier and girthier as it goes up in the D and the E. So yeah,
Yep.
they'll be able to go. Look, Asian, white, black. I shouldn't bring race into it, but they'll be able to do. Those jokes will happen. Or at least the ladies will anyway. Right.
So size does matter in the hulls anyway.
Yes, in the whole series it does. So yeah, I've had a lot of fun in it. I jumped on a stream with Grim and I coached him through loading and unloading, and he was able to do that as well. So he was able to replicate what I did. It's got less buggy every day that's gone past, so they're definitely working at things in the background on the PTU. It is a really big step forward for cargo, and it's got some really big technological achievements in it that you can look at and see that it's going to have follow-on effects to other ships down the line and things like that. And that's what impresses me about it, besides the ship itself.
And I know there are people who say, well, big deal, I don't care about those technological advances, it doesn't impact my ship. But any of those advances, anything in the tech that improves the game or improves a ship or a system is huge. And sometimes we just don't see the stuff. We don't see what's going, those advances.
Has a follow-on effect too, doesn't it? So yeah, domino effect type of thing.
But yeah, I liked it. I haven't had a chance to load cargo on it or not.
Have you flown it though? How do you find it?
I did fly it a little bit. It was a big ship. It was a big ship.
Well, its SCM is like 100 meters a second. It's quite slow, But I think that kind of talks to its weight and how they want it to feel and stuff. So yeah, I think the only thing that's a little clunky for me at the moment is the whole land, sell, get in, pull it out again. Because I think eventually you'll be able to just go to the cargo deck and unload your cargo onto the cargo deck and then sell it from the cargo deck. I think that's the actual plan eventually. But for the moment, that's the only workaround they could to get it to work. And I think the other thing is they had certain graphics for it in the ISC they showed off for where you fly into that area where you unload from, and it's not the same graphic. It's very placeholder right now. It's kind of like this diagonal texture that moves over, and it's a little a bit stroby for my tastes, and you can't really see out of it and stuff, but it's functional.
It'll do the job.
Besides that, in 320, then I think most of the patch is actually an arena commander, believe it or not. And The interesting thing about that is when SC is down, so to speak, we'll have other shit we can do now because they've all been updated. There's some really good modes. There's some modes that are busted. There's some maps that are busted, but they're fixing it as they go along. I think some modes that I thought were going to be really awesome on pace, like the tank modes, I was really looking forward to that, but the tanks are a little bit wonky. They're a bit too light, and also you got to remember there's more tanks coming with the storm coming, so that'll change it as well, because now you'll have kind of like a heavy and a light tank type of thing. So you'll have your quick one and your fast one, and the auto aiming from master mode seems to be in those tank battles, and boy, they're accurate. You know, like like I can see a tank like I'd be normally with a sniper rifle over on the opposite hill, and as long as it's near him, it'll hit him. Like if he's not moving, he's getting shot. It's that simple.
I think I actually haven't been in the PTU itself. I've only been in Arena Commander.
Oh, there you go.
And so I had a look at the whole seat in Arena Commander, because whenever I try to go into the PTU, world just doesn't load. It just crashes. So I can get into PTU, but I can't get into the PU, the PTU, because it's just not loading. It just dies.
I think I had a couple of rounds with Daily Noob on Gun Game, or what I'm calling Gun Game, because that's what I know it as. What they call it, Gun Rush, because they can't call it the same thing. They should have just called it Gun Game. But yeah, that's pretty good too. There's some weird desync issues though. It's pretty weird, especially when one person's got like 40 ping and the other two people that were playing had 300. But it's interesting. It's really spiced it up for me and changed it a bit. But you can see sweeping improvements across the board in all the modes. And even the weirdest one though is the master mode Vandal Swarm that we did. And at the moment there's no pip. But if that is what they're going for, and I think the reason why they're going for it is it feels very like you're playing a console game, because it's very apparently like there's meant to be this pip that's like a square, and as long as you keep it in the square, it pretty much auto aims for you. So it almost looks like it's been designed for controllers. Now I know Chris Robert likes to play with controllers, but it doesn't feel like a hard, like I think it's designed to appeal to more casual players than. So basically the people that are going to be annoyed are the hardcore joystick user PvPers, because it just auto aims way too much. And I don't know how they're going to give that back to them players without actually just making it harder for them, but allowing us to have their auto aim. So I think they've kind of designed it for the masses rather than for the hardcore. And I think there's going to be some, like, I can see the PvP community not liking that, because the skill floor has dropped considerably. There are some benefits to it, but not in the skills department. So visually, the UI is a lot cleaner. The ships seem to be a lot closer, and because there's less things on the screen, you can see the little shots on the ship, because normally there's like the GUI element there, and you just see the bullets going off, but you don't see them hitting and stuff. So you can just see a lot more things, because it's you're looking.
By cleaning up the HUD, you can actually see all the details.
So there are some benefits to it. I think if that master modes is for single player, and then you have your high skill cap one for multiplayer, I would be totally fine with that. And I think you would. Daily Noob, I know you're there, and I know you were saying you didn't like the auto aim, but just let me know in Twitch. Would you be cool with that just for Squadron, the auto aim, and then more like what we've got now for PvP? Because I think that's what they're a bit worried about, is the skill ceiling drop, because it is so incredibly easy. It's satisfying and fun, but it's not when you're against other people, because it's just like, I'm shooting you, you're shooting me, whoop-de-doo, you know. And they still die fairly quickly right now. If you turn the time to kill up, and it becomes about making the people on, say, bigger ships do more work. So like, I'm taking out this nacelle, so they've got to go over like, if you know how the ship works, so if there's a bit of strategy in how you pull a ship apart, maybe that might come back to it. But then it's not a skill-based shooting ship game. It's more like a tactical rip up ship apart game. Like, it changes do you know what I mean? Like, it changes the core gameplay of, like, it's meant to be a dogfight, and it moves it away makes it a strategic, almost like you're playing cards. It's a strategy rather than a and
imagine if it's too much in time to kill the ship, if that goes too long, then you go back to jousting again, where you're doing a run. Okay, did I do more damage this time or him? And if you know, Yeah, he's getting the better of me. I'm out of here.
Yeah, so Daily Noob just basically says it's making it boring. So yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting when the masses get their hands on it for live. I don't think they're putting it in straight away. I think they're leaving it in Arena Command so people can test it. But yeah, maybe the fix is somewhere between the two, and it is really hard to call. Guys, let us know in a statement, so into the question, so put a question but then say statement or whatever, what your thoughts are on master modes if you've tried them, because I'd really like to know, because it is going to be a very polarizing topic on the community, and try and be, what's the word we always use, Algared? Critical, like I always forget that damn word. Critical feedback, right? So don't just go, it's shit, it's a snorefest, like that Daily Noob said, right? Tell me why. Why is it shit, right? What, like, and try and look at it from your perspective, but then also look at from as many people as possible. And that's really hard to do, to take yourself out of it. But I think that's why they've made it simpler, because it means it's more accessible to more people. And you got to remember what Squadron 42 is. It's a single player experience with lots of celebrities in it. There'll be a lot of people coming into the genre, a lot of people that have not played these, dogfighty stuff before. But if you can come in and have a bit of fun, you can also do your first-person shooter stuff, a bit of cinematic stuff. I can see that really raises the number of accessibility. Now, does it make it more boring for people that are hardcore like Daily Noob? Absolutely. But I think that's why they're doing it. And if it's a gateway in, and then so as I said, if you actually have the hardcore PvP, and then you have a simpler, more auto-aim single player, I could see that what they're aiming for. So I don't know.
So what we want is you to give constructive criticism, not just
that's the one.
Give negative feedback. So you want to say something bad, that's fine. Say it's bad, but give reasons why it's bad, and possibly even suggest a solution as to how to fix it.
Yep.
Don't just go, yeah, it sucks. Don't give an Algared version of a Nova or a Steel, because I'll just say, yeah, they suck.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, next question from Nova42. Nova42 says, how do you feel about Ship Showdown? I think we've expressed our opinions on Ship Showdown numerous times.
Actually, real quick, for some reason I must have missed them, and I do apologize, but we've actually had a couple of resubs that I missed. For some reason they didn't come up on the screen today, so I do apologize, but they come up on my other screen. So we had a Prime subscription from Saramin. Thank you for that. Toka Kenny resubscribed with Prime. Thank you for that, Toka Kenny, and Nova A42 resubscribed as well. Thank you guys. I don't know why they didn't come up, but my apologies.
And since you've just done that, I may as well say, hey, don't forget, like, subscribe, and hit the bell on YouTube, because it does actually help. And people do tell us that they don't get it, but we also know from our analytics about 50% of people who watch our channel are not subscribers. And yeah, it'd be nice to see a higher percentage of that. When I look at most channels, and I'm watching most channels, most people seem to say 50% of their viewers are not subscribers.
Yeah. But it helps us out if you like the video on that as well. So yeah.
But it does help. It does help us know.
We don't promote ourselves enough, and we get told by our friends and stuff that we need to push it more. But it's not who we are. We don't do this for money. We just do this for fun. But you've got to play. Well, it's just simple. YouTube wants money. If you don't push it, they won't put you.
Yourself.
They don't. They won't put you forward. It's that simple.
Yeah,
so,
it was the same reason why we went to putting the ads in, because if we weren't putting the ads in, we weren't.
They won't.
You just couldn't grow.
It's not us. They're not paid. They won't do it. So yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, so to finish off with Nova 42's question, what do we feel about Ship Showdown?
We did an entire episode on it.
Yeah, we're not really happy. I'm glad you like the community involvement or engagement and the potential for CCU to chain savings, or CCU chain savings. The potential for CCUs is always a bonus. It's always something I think people should look at when they're going for voting. It's a popularity contest. It's nothing to do with how good the ship is. So I reckon when you're looking at ships, look at which ones are going to give you the best CCUs down the road and make that your voting. But yeah.
So I think number one next year, Cutlass Steel, and then we'll have to come up with other three other ones that they won't make a lot of money on, and we'll just get. Well, I think we can get the Cutlass Steel through, but I don't think we can get for porkers because then we're screwing the whole competition. But if we just get the Cutlass Steel at the top, I think that'll be a very clear message.
As Paul said, you want to have 4 so that you've always got that.
Well, I don't think
Yep.
we need the backups. And what I'm saying is, if we just make it the Steel and the whole ad campaign is not STEEL, it's STEAL, we're going to steal your competition.
Yeah, well, we all
Writes
already
itself.
call it a steal, STEAL.
Yeah.
Because that steal is a steal.
Yeah. And we'll pimp it on Twitter, we'll pimp it here, and I'm sure you guys will help too, because it's got to change. It's just too toxic. And you can even see how Algared and I get a little heated. Like Algared will go, "Oh, I want the 8-9 jump." And I'm like, "No, I want the fucking cutter to win." And like, you know, it makes people. It's great for engagement, and negativity really does drive social media. But I don't want to fight people. It's just that simple. I don't want to fight people. So yeah. All right, Algared, I'm going to go next question from you, bud.
North End Trooper. So when ships are in quantum travel and they hit a dark matter or some space anomaly pocket, would the ship experience turmoil-like flight characteristics? Okay, so when ships are in quantum travel and it hits some anomaly, will they experience flight turmoil characteristics? So yeah,
I think they also showed that in the episode we just watched on ISC with the impacts. Adding it all together, you've got impacts on the exterior hull, how your character's going to shake around. Right now, if you go into quantum, you get knocked on your ass. Absolutely.
I think
gravity distortion.
I think the fact we get knocked on our butt is reasonings why we need our magnetic boots back.
Oh, that's a good point.
Do you remember the magnetic boots?
Yes, I do.
They were so good.
They were
I
good.
miss those.
Yeah, and
I miss those.
walk up the surface of things, but they changed it to grabby hands in the end. So they've gone from feet to hands. But
there's no reason you can't have both.
Well, it'd be a really cool feature for engineers, especially. So what I'm saying is, not everyone has to have them, but like certain suits have them. So if you're doing repairs or salvage, that makes a lot of sense to me, because then you can walk on surfaces. Or even if they cheat and just make it so you can only work on the floor. You know.
But even if you have it on suits and you've got to turn the power on, that's power drain on your suit.
That true.
Means you're going to run out of power on your suit earlier.
Yep, absolutely.
But I used to like the ability to hop out and walk on the space stations in Arena Commander, or walk on the top of your ship just because you could. Doesn't mean you don't want grabby hands.
Yeah,
you do, but I think you still want that variety. And like you said, for an engineer, being able to work on your engine in grav, zero grav because the grav's been shot out or something like that is important. I remember that. You'll remember the dogfight, the Andromeda versus the Hornets, and they opened that dogfight up with the kind of being hit with a missile, and the ship being vented, and the guy in the back of a ship hits his magnetic boot so he can actually walk up to the turret and get in the turret. That's the type of thing you want. You don't want to just be...
Well, it gives tactical options too, because you can turn all the gravity off and then you walk in with the boots and everyone else is floating. It's like, stick them up, so there's a whole bunch of things there as well. And we know they've got gravity tech. Maybe down the road, Algared. Hopefully. Fingers crossed,
and that's classic Star Trek.
Absolutely.
Undiscovered country, lose gravity, guys walk in with their grab boots, kill the Klingons, and so I'd like to see the grab boots. I know it's not the same as grabby hands, but I think sorry, let's stop playing with that. Playing with a camera horseshoe thing from the brackets I've got.
I do want to do a little bit of a poll, right? So everyone that's here is probably just waiting for the next 3 hours for Starfield to drop. I've had a couple of requests from people that would like me to stream Starfield, but I also have had a lot of other streamers telling me other people don't want them to stream it because they don't want things ruined. Now, if enough people, and when I say enough people, I'm talking like 5 people want me to stream this thing on Inforunners and on Twitch, I will, as I'm playing it. But if you guys don't want me to, then I'm not going to bother. I'd rather just kind of sit and absorb it on my own. But by the same token, I was talking to Expat. We were talking about people streaming stuff as we catch up and stuff. And she brought up a really important point that one of her viewers is stuck in a a hospital bed in Turkey after the incidents that have happened there, and he just likes watching her play games because he can't play them himself because he's stuck in a hospital bed. So I kind of felt, well, look, I wasn't going to, but if there's enough people that want me to, I will, for that type of reasons, not to be selfish or anything like that. But I always feel like I'm going to ask. So I'm going to do a poll, and if you guys want me to, I will. If you don't, then no harm, no foul. It's all good. So I'm just going to ask, would you like me to play Starfield?
My only concern, like, I don't care. Like, I think, it's a space game. My only concern would be if we were streaming, would it screw up our analytics for the channel?
Well, again, I can just do it on Twitch. I can just do it on Twitch if that's the problem. So yeah.
But I personally think it's if we're doing the things we do, then why not? But
yeah, well, at some point, Algared, we're gonna have to. Me and Algared have been talking about getting into more gameplay stuff. Like we'd like to do, and the other thing is it makes it so that so maybe I can do it on my own or Algared can do it on his own. So whenever we just feel like it, we just get on and play for a couple of hours and stream, and then eventually it might become more of a regular time where you guys can join us. So like we might even alternate, and so like play with the Australian people or play with the Americans or the Europeans or whatever. Down the line, anyway.
Anyway, next question. Starjump. Hello, Starjump. Lovely to have you here today.
Hey, bud.
So I'm in a conference call for work. Sorry. But turn the call audio down. Well, thank you. And have Inforunners audio playing instead. I'm glad we're more interesting than your work colleagues. I hope they don't ask me a question in the conference call. Just say, sorry, sound problems. Sorry, I'm having issues at the moment. Yeah. I hope that's not the case as well. Thank you for that comment. Thank you for the words of love. And I only realised it wasn't a question until I got to the end. But thank you. All right, Luminalia. I'm just double checking that your question doesn't ask. All right, it's okay. We're not moving your episode down further. So what is a good entry-level, medium-sized, multi-crew combat ship for players that usually avoid combat, looking to get more combat-focused? Redeemer.
Absolutely, the Redeemer. Absolutely. Well, both Algared and I talked about that in our top 10. Like, if both Algared and I are showing off ships that are in game right now, I think the Redeemer is really good right now. You'd agree with Algared, but the other part is the once the modules come in, that just goes to another level, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of the ships that I have, and I think Algared's got everything, but I have a lot of the modular ones because it just adds this. If you're not sure what you want, get a modular ship.
You go to modules. It's
one of the reasons why I've got the Caterpillar, because this thing, like the Galaxy, one of the reasons why the Galaxy was so popular. If you really were unsure. And this is a hot take, Algared, you tell me if I'm wrong, but if you were really unsure what you wanted to do in this game, a really safe bet would be get a Caterpillar and get a Galaxy, and you're done. Because it would give you so much. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like the reasoning. Often we say get a Endeavour, but
you could add the Endeavour to
the game. You can
add the Endeavour to those two as well. Sorry,
But you wouldn't, if you're just unsure about the game, that's not a ship you would normally go for just because it's so big but yeah. So I'd go the Redeemer because that's full on combat. If you're after one that does a bit more than just combat, multi-crew ship that's in the medium range, I'd be looking at something like a Connie, if it's got a bit more cargo. You could go for Corsair, but I'm not a fan of a Corsair. But if you're just after medium-sized combat ship, Redeemer, it works solo. It works for multi-crew. That's another one of those ships that I think may have too much firepower for the pilot, giving a multi-crew ship, and it's that.
He's got what 2 3s and 2 4s, so it's a little less. But yeah, I get where you're coming from. No. I tend to agree. I'd actually rather more firepower on that back tail one, personally. Trying to think of a good medium one. I do think along the, like in the future, we are going to get Redeemer. Like, we'll put it this way: technically, the only 2 gunships based on what is listed on the ASOP terminal is the Connie and the Redeemer, and I think the Corsairs now as well.
Yeah,
I'd have to double check that. So we're kind of getting into that ballpark now, but I think I'd like to see another one that's more like the Redeemer, that's really combat-y focused, and we haven't.
Yep.
There's this kind of a little bit of disconnect. Like, you've got all your little fighters and specialist fighters, and then the Redeemer's kind of there, and then you've kind of got the Corsair and the Connie that kind of go off into this generalist thing. But I'd like to see another core one that's really just based on combat, like a small multi-crew. And believe it or not, I thought the Corsair might be that, but it's not. And I'm trying to think of a manufacturer that'd be good for it. Kruger Algared, just a gunship. Yep. It speaks for itself. Gunship. Yeah.
Yeah. Kruger of a gun manufacturer, me with gunship. Yep. Yeah, I can remember back in 2014 or so when the Connie was listed as a space superiority control ship. You know, so and I think it does that by it gains its space superiority by its massive size 1 missile. So it's got like, you know, size 1, size 2 missiles that ends up with a total of 54 or something like that. It's a massive number.
The Perseus will be one of those though too when it comes along. But I also think that shows how overpriced that Perseus is. Like, I think it's more in line with the Redeemer than it is with the Polaris, as an example. It's not, because it's a medium versus a large and then a capital, so it is in between those two.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I kind of see the Perseus going more toe to toe with the Redeemer than going toe to toe with the Polaris. But time will tell. Maybe I'm completely wrong. But yeah, I think you can definitely see there's a lot more ships in there that need filling out. So yeah. Okay, so the poll on Twitch just finished. 62% on YouTube and 6 votes though. So only 7 votes total on Twitch. 86%. So
yeah.
I can take that or leave it, but I don't. Yeah. Maybe I'll just do it on my own private channel. I don't know. Or maybe I'll just do it on Twitch. I'll just do it on Twitch, and I'll play that in a couple of hours. I'll probably go have a bit of lunch when we wrap up here, Algared, and then an hour later I'll play.
I did see Paul was streaming it a bit earlier.
Oh, every man and his dog's going to be streaming in a couple of hours. So that was the other thing. So like, do you really want to hang out with me when you can go out hang out with that big awesome streamer that does it every day? That's got 20,000 people or whatever. So
well, sometimes small communities are more pleasant.
I'm more that way, to be honest. It's the same thing with the Star Citizen stuff. I much prefer to hang out with the smaller people and get that sense of community than be kind of lost in the ocean of people. But each to their own. So yeah.
All right. So Luminalia, do let us know in chat whether we've answered that question, because it's a ship question. So they're always a bit harder to work out, but whether that made sense for you or answered your question adequately for your taste. Next question is from Squanchy. Squanchy710 says, if you have a ship in a CCU chain applied, example, Start Cutter and 600i Explorer, would you get the paints if they win, or no? If you've already applied this, if you had a cutter and you've applied a CCU, it is no longer a cutter. It is a 600i.
So to give an example, I had a chain to a Polaris, and I when the best in show for that year, which was the yellow, gold, and black one, came out, they had a white skin for the Eclipse. I upgraded it to the Eclipse, and it's sat there as an Eclipse ever since, because I just wanted to get that white skin. It is now one of the rarest skins in the entire game, so I'm kind of glad I did. And
I gotta admit, I do like the white skin on the cutter. That's totally different, but I do like the white skin on the cutter. It's the one I go to rather than all the others. So the white skins do kind of have a nice feel on some ships. But yeah, the Eclipse, it's a nice one too.
Do you know what? I'm just sitting, watching a few of the questions about Starfield in chat, and I'm just thinking, God, how cool would that game be if you could play it even with one other person co-op? Boy, that would be a game I could get behind. And I'm sure at some point, because it's been done for Oblivion and Fallout and stuff like that, someone will make a mod. But man, just the ability to play an RPG like that, and I'm surprised it's not been done. And I mean, like, in first-person perspective from a big company. The closest thing I can think of is Borderlands, but it's all random, and then they make it all comical, so it just doesn't have the same appeal to me. And the last game was terrible and not funny at all. But it would be really cool if you could play an RPG in first person with friends. And even third person. Can you imagine going around, and Starfield leans itself to that, going around as a crew doing the RPG? I think that would be sick. Oh,
Yeah.
I want to be the captain, and I want to be this race of alien, and I want to be the science officer. I want to be the weapons officer. I want to be the engineer. So you could have 4 roles, and everyone picks what they want to be, and you go around, and that would be sick.
And that is the big thing that Baldur's Gate 3's got at the moment. You can play solo, or you can play with 3 mates.
Oh man,
and do yeah.
I might have to pick it up. Daily Noob's been playing it a lot, but I'm not a big fan of turn-based stuff, but I really love playing stuff co-op. So he never told me it had co-op. You didn't lie to me, Daily Noob. You just let me down, didn't fill me in.
You can play. You can. I've got it. I'm not playing with my mates at the moment because they've already started.
I've got sorry. First,
my mates.
Sorry, I got to cut you off. I got to ask in chat. PC 101. I was looking at a video of yours yesterday. Would you have any problem us showing off your little video of the Outposts PCB? Because I think it's a really good little video that shows people some really good stuff in 320. So if you give me permission, we'll watch it right now on stream. Yeah, sorry, I could go back to what you're saying.
Yeah. So yeah, I've got mates playing it. We're trying to keep it at the same level. It does make it harder if you already played ahead and then you come into problems and you know how to solve it. But you can play Baldur's Gate 3 with 3 players or 3 other players, which makes it everything that you want an RPG game to be. You want to be able to play with mates as well as do that. So yeah.
All right. So this is I'm going to cut it over to the browser real quick. So PCB, who's I don't know. You can introduce yourself if you want, PC 101. But he is basically Pissball Pete's mate, right? And I was watching him on the stream the other day on Pissball Pete's stream, and they were basically playing in these new outposts. And yeah, this is just a short little video that he's made, and I think it kind of really nice and neatly highlights your Pete's carer. That covers it nicely. Yes, he is Pete's carer. Pete would be dead if it wasn't for PC 101. 100%. That's I agree with that 100% too, because I've had to take care of Pete too. All right.
So that's why he's PC 101. He's Pete's carer 101.
Yeah, that's it. All right. So let's have a look at this real quick.
So it turns out they've added a whole load of new abandoned outpost locations. If you do the mission remove illegal occupants, it takes you to some of these new locations. There's this one, which is something Ridge. I can't recall the exact name. A lot of missing balls. It's really not complete, but they are so cool. I love these new locations. This is
definitely having a little bit of loading issue there. I can see as it's popping in, Algared. I don't know if you can see that, but it's definitely way cooler than what we've seen. Notice how it's a lot more organic. It's not it's laid out.
Popping in and
yeah.
But this is a small one to the one I'm about to show you. The one I'm about to show you, I found was the first one I found. It was completely by accident. There we go. You can see it popping in now. This one is just crazy big.
Jeez, that is. That looks like
it has a lot of missing.
That looks like an actual town, doesn't it? That's sick. Is that that's a reclaimer's ass? Yeah. In the wow.
It looked like a reclaimer's crash site. It's now been settled and turned into a town.
That's really cool.
Balls. There's a lot of missing stuff all over.
It's always nice to see the stuff that they were bringing in a while ago. Like we talked about on Inside Star Citizen a while ago about the wrecks and
it's just massive. All these grey sort of boxes, I think, are roads.
Oh yeah, true, roads.
It's like little. It's like a bar and shops inside. Like these areas have missing balls. When you go in there, it loads other stuff. It's like LOD level stuff, and like the LODs are a bit weird and stuff. It's obviously very much not a finished.
Yeah, definitely
location.
Work in progress.
It makes me think this is not supposed to be in the game at the moment. It feels.
But you can even see parts to it, like they've almost got like gardens here. So they've actually thought about it. So this is more like maybe the first part that started a small base, and then it's like grown out from there. So they actually live down here, but the rest up here is scrap and defense.
Illegal occupants.
That's really cool.
All right, so if you want to try and find these locations, just go ahead and grab the remove illegal occupants mission. The first location was up here. I'll leave it. I can't
see.
remember the
They've
name.
already
Something Ridge.
cleared out
This one doesn't
the
have a
residents
title.
and have taken over.
It might also give you Ghost Hollow as a location.
Oh, so essentially they're Ghost Hollow alternatives.
Do you like the video?
Based on what
Thumbs up,
TC just
thumbs
said.
down, all that lovely stuff. I know it's a kind of
I
quick
can
and
see that.
dirty video. It was just like, oh, it's really cool. I want to make a video. Really
And you
quick
don't
and
always
post it,
want the
so
same venue for the
excuse
the same
kind
the
of
same
jankiness
place
of
for the
it.
same
Anyway, peace out.
same
Have a
mission
good
all the
show.
time. You want things to be mixed up.
Yeah, well, if they're rolling up to being able to roll those out procedurally, that's going to be really cool. But it's just, yeah, it's gonna take some time to get it to work that way. But
Yep.
yeah. Well, it's like apparently the bunkers are meant to be a lot more randomized this time around, and they've got new versions of missions in there where they add 2, and I think they added a few more. So that'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I think one of the things I like is, as I was saying, that they'd shown 6 months, 8 months ago the work they were doing on those different rec sites and how they were filling them out and doing that other stuff. So it's nice to see them actually appearing more in game and having that element. So yeah,
Thanks for letting us show you video of PC 101.
thank you.
Yeah, the 101st carer for Pete. He's killed 100 earlier.
So when I'm walking around and getting close to Pete and he kills me, he's going to be 102. PC 102 will be his number. So,
you should just randomly update your name one day.
Yeah, it's just randomly changing your number. Okay, so number Nova 42 has another question. They say the Turpin has no skin in game. Yes, we know. We'd love it to have a skin in game.
Agrid, I know we went back to questions, but I forgot about this. I did want to talk about this. Actually, Board Gamer made a video on this as well. So props to him. I agreed with him entirely on his opinion of it. But this got 2.1k upvotes on Reddit, which is quite high for a Star Citizen Reddit. So I'm going to flick over to it, and some of you might know what I'm about to talk about. But this was a prior CIG employee, recently released, so he's recently been let go, and he titles it something has to change, but you can tell he's a bit salty, even though he says he's not salty, because he goes, I don't want drama, and I don't want my friends to get fired, but putting a post like this called Something's Gotta Change is absolutely drama. So you've contradicted yourself. So
I don't want drama, but I'm going to have drama. I'm not salty, but I'm salty.
Yeah, so just in that alone, I tend not to believe a lot of what's in this. I will drop a link. Yeah, absolutely. If you want me to. Sorry, I will drop a link. That's in Twitch and that is in YouTube. There you go. And so basically this is a former employee that goes around and he talks about the things, and I'm going to be honest, he's pretty tame. Some of the things he complains about I think is a little bit weird, because if you know anything about so he complains about them buying art for the new offices, and some of the amount of art they're spending is equal to like a weekly amount of pay for one person. But a lot of places when you rent them, you have to do a certain amount of beautification. Here in Australia, like even the government's got to do it under their own laws and stuff. So
you look at any supermarket. I don't know what it's like elsewhere, but in Australia, if you're got a shop in a supermarket or in a shopping centre, every few years you get told, you've got to refurbish.
At my local bakery inside the shopping mall that I was at, my housemate that used to live with me when he was here, he got 2 weeks off work while they renovated the bakery for exactly what you're talking about. They are forced every 3 years to upgrade just for beautification purposes.
Yep.
So it might be outside of CIG's control. Is all we're trying to say.
You must spend this much on beautification.
Yeah. But I do think most of what he had to complain and give credit about is pretty reasonable. There's just a few things that I think sound a little bit outside his purview. But as I said, the only thing that I really found contradictory, he goes, I don't want drama, but you're literally making 2.1k votes of drama.
The other thing with the things like the artwork and stuff, when you do things like that in a workplace, it makes the workplace more pleasant to work in.
Yep.
If you've got a place that looks nice to work in, you are happy to work there.
Yeah.
If your place looks like a dog's breakfast, you don't feel happy working there. So
well,
there is an element.
I'll ask you another part. His other thing that he complained about was he works in one area of CIG, but you don't always understand what's happening in other parts. So you're a teacher, Algared. Would you say that you know what's happening in another teacher's classroom? I would beg to differ that. Yeah, it's the same type of thing, right? So if he's in one area of CIG, he might not understand what's happening because of another part of CIG. But some of the things he does say is a little worrying. So he talks and he even gives the steel as an example in here. Like he told them that the Cutlass Black was underrated, and by the same token, when they said that, he said that to them, they also turned around and went, oh, but it's the Cutlass, so we're going to put the price. It's the Cutlass, so we're going to put the price of it up. So as soon as they made the Cutlass steel and they more than 2.5 times the price of it, type of thing, it was like it won't sell. It's too expensive because the black is better. He told them that the black was better than the steel. And I agree with him 100%.
But everyone knew the black was better than the steel. But
yeah, but he uses that as his justification to CIG won't listen to me, and then he also wouldn't listen to me, and then he also says, but at my new job they listen to me. So the thing I think I take away from this was he wasn't happy there, but he is now happy where he was. But
I'm happy that he's happy.
Yeah, but he wants things to change. But I think his problems with the marketing team there are the same problems I have with the marketing team. They are traditional marketing people. They are not, as you and I have often said, passion versus profit. And this really started out as a passion project. But as companies get bigger and bigger and more people come in, you have to grab people that are from those areas of field. And let's be honest, a really big company doesn't work on passion as well as it like look at Google. Google was very passion driven. They are now very profit driven. It just gets milked out of things over time because it doesn't quite because once you go on the stock exchange, it's all about it. They are legally bound. Once you're on the stock exchange, you are legally bound to get more profit for your customer for your shareholders.
It's the same when CIG sold shares after the Calder claim. Like they were now bound to make sure they had profit for them.
Yep, and the board and all that thing would have changed that as well. Absolutely.
So it's probably one of the areas I am dirty on CIG, but I'd have preferred if they were short to say, hey guys, things are getting tight at the moment. We need another injection of cash, and I'm pretty certain backers would have gone. Yeah,
though Board doesn't always pump other content creators, Board does read this word for word. So if you want to have it read out for you and you don't have a TTS installed, Board Gamer reads the whole thing and he gives you his opinion on it as well. So yeah, go nuts and you can Board reads it out, and that was brought to my attention through a Board Gamer video.
Now is that because I can't see because it's so small. Is that anonymously? Is the guy done it anonymously? Is they got a name?
No, he's nothing like that. He just says that he worked in I think he mentions customer service or QA or something like that. But I'll leave it up to you. But I think what he's trying to say there was something has to change with the marketing.
Yep.
I think the part that he doesn't get is like what I'm trying to say. I'm slowly realizing that this is a company now. It's moved beyond the kind of hobby, will it survive, will it won't survive stage. And yes, I don't like it as much, and you and I agree on that, but I think it's a necessary evil.
It is.
He's literally saying things like, you need to speak with your wallet if you want to get things done. But and I agree with that. I do think we need to speak with our wallet if we want to get things done. But he does, combining a few of the things he says, he does come off as particularly, I did not get my way and they let me go. It almost feels like he pissed them off, so they let him go. That's what it, reading this letter, that's what it feels like.
If you don't work well with a team, if you're constantly complaining and making waves, you'll get the boot. And it's regardless of whatever job you're in. If you can't work with the team and you're upsetting other people on the team too much, then do I keep you and lose these guys, or do I lose you and keep everyone else? And
so Monster Avery's saying there in Twitch that they confirmed he was a marketing guy, and someone else said Medic Sans Guaranteed said he worked in different teams. Okay, so cool. Interesting.
Yep.
Started led were marketing related. So again, that's interesting. If he's the marketing guy telling them what to do and they override him. Okay, so are you telling me that the higher ups make these final decisions, and the marketing guy. Oh, so I've been blaming the marketing guy the whole time, and I need to blame someone else. That's what I've just heard from what. If that's true, what you've just said, Monster Avia, I've been blaming the wrong person. Right.
Well, you know, I'd be honest. Like, if it was someone like Paul Jones had written it, I'd give that a lot more credence.
Oh, he had his. Apparently, he did put his name on it. Like, there's a name for the Twitter. Apparently. Can you link us his name? Maybe we can get a photo of him. Maybe we've seen him before.
You know what I mean? Like, if it was someone like Paul Jones, I'd say, okay, yeah, that's a legit concern. But if it's Joe Blogs, who I don't care. And I know that might sound harsh, but the concerns about, you know, making the workplace a comfortable place for people to work in.
Yeah.
Gee whiz, I'm shattered that the company actually takes care of making sure that the staff feel it's a nice place to come and work.
That kind of last comment does speak a little bit about his character, though. So he does say, endpoint, please be kind to one another. See, because that's the type of thing I say to people. Like, at the end of the day, just be civil. And like we say, Algared, you want to give feedback and constructive criticism. I always stuffed up that word, but that's what you want to do. And maybe he has done that. I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to
maybe he's trying to do constructive criticism.
Maybe my own personal bias is trying to dismiss him so I can just get back to peace. But yeah, I don't know. I'd be interested to know what you guys think. But everything can always be done better anywhere. And, you know, like we could do this show better. I'm sure every content creator.
Yeah, we could edit.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so, but it comes down to time and money and all those type of things. And time's the big one, especially for me and Algared. It's always a big thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, like, you know, I think that's true. Wherever you go, everything could be done different. And you get two people in a room, you get three opinions. In some cases with X and I, you get 5. So
yeah, exactly. Luna Mario said that they are back, and I think we did do their question. Yes.
Yep. We did do your question.
What is a good level entry medium size multi-crew combat ship? I think we basically just said the Redeemer, didn't we? In short,
I went straight to Redeemer if you're after a combat ship, and if you're after a combat and a bit more, then look maybe at the Connie or you know, something along those lines. But straight combat.
Yep.
Redeemer.
Cool.
Anyway, Nova 42.
Yep. Next one.
What page was that where you had the image of a cutter and CX next to each other for the
that was on the
Showdown.
I think it was it's the referral free fly thing. It's the second one here. So it was the second tab along currently on the RSI page.
Yep.
And then you scroll down to where it says here. There you go.
Yep. So
the second tab on the front page, and then go to there. Hope that clears
so
up.
Even without LCI on those ships, that they are really good package buys. Now, if you do buy one of those, be aware that if you melt it, you will lose a discount and you'll have to buy it back at the full price.
Yep.
If I remember correctly.
But with that discount, $15 discount, I can kind of lose the LCI there, and it'd be the cutter I'd be recommending the hand over fist, just because it's a soloistic ship. It's got all those features. Great little ship.
If you're looking, I wouldn't buy it as a CCU token start point, because I'd always want LTI on those. But if you're after a starting ship, if you've got a friend who you're wanting to buy a pack for a friend or a nephew or a son, daughter, whoever else who you want to sucker into a game, this would be an ideal pack for them.
Yeah.
Certainly either of those two ships.
Just 2 updates here. Luna Mario, the other reason I recommended the Redeemer on top of what Algared said is obviously the future expansion with the modularities. And Jonas Morrissey, any of you guys playing Starfield? Yeah, we just did a poll on it a while ago. I will be playing it later today, and I think I'm going to stream it on Twitch. If you guys turn up on Twitch, it'll just be the Inforunners Twitch, and you can watch that with me. And if there's enough people, I'll just keep doing it until people get sick of me and tell me to go home.
I'll watch Paul or X play. I have no intention of playing it. To me, Starfield has never appealed to me. Everything I've seen just made me think, it's Fallout in space. And I'm told it's a bit more than that, but it's generally picking up assets from that, and I don't care.
Yeah, I've got. I know a few people reviewing it, obviously, from just the Starson community, but also my brother's a game reviewer. And they're not meant to tell me things, but I've heard things that it's basically Fallout in space with a little bit extra things. Everything that I assumed was going to happen, like we've obviously seen the leaks that have come out about the maps and stuff like that. That was nothing outside my purview at all. Like, and one of the really cool things, being someone that follows Star Citizen, you clearly now know when other people are bullshitting, right? Like No Man's Sky, when that dropped, we were like, yeah, no way that's doing what you said it's going to do. You've got 9 people and you're trying to make Star Citizen, piss off, you know? And you know, it's the same thing with this. I knew straight away that they weren't going to have that thing, and they don't. And you know, and it's because they've got to make all this stuff. Will it be a great game? Absolutely. But it's just to try and blow smoke up people's asses what I don't like. What I have heard back from people that have played it, and there's already people streaming it now, so it really doesn't matter, that it is way less buggy. And I think that's got a lot to do with Fallout 76, which was an absolute mess.
I saw, when I first saw the ads for Starfield, and I was saying 20 years in the making. That to me was saying this is Fallout in space.
Yeah, 25 years in the making is what they say, but it was really their first new IP in 25 years, which is a bit bullshit and also misleading because it actually started development in they registered the name in 2013, which is almost as long as Star Citizen. That's so kind of funny. And they started development in 2014. So that's taken them 9 years. And look,
they had a lot of back stuff they were drawing on.
And look what Star Citizen's done in that time. Because the development of Star Citizen didn't really kick off to 2014 when Frankfurt came on board. So I'm going to be really interested to see next year when you know, SC drops, or even at CitizenCon this year if they show it off. If that comes out of the gate and it rivals Starfield, we'll see. We'll see.
I've said in the past, I don't think it, you know, it rivals.
Again, you can play both. It doesn't matter. Play both. Best of both worlds. Here's my cake, and here's my other cake, and I'm going to eat them both.
But that's the thing I've often said. You know, people say, "Oh, does it raise the bar?"
Yeah.
I don't think it does. Star Citizen's always had the bar they want, and they're just going for it. And
I think at the very least, Starfield raises the bar on other Bethesda games.
Yep.
And I think every Bethesda game before that has done that. So that's not, you know, they took the base building system from Fallout 3 and they've extended that to be able to build on planets and stuff. The one new thing they've got this time around is the flying spaceship stuff. And you could see them taking that and putting that back into, say, a Fallout game. And instead of flying spaceships, it's driving vehicles on the road or whatever. So you'd have driving segments between towns or whatever, if they wanted to have that, that is, you know.
Yep. 100%.
So, yeah. If you are really into Starfield, one thing I've been watching is Adam Savage, who used to do Tested. He's been building a really cool model that they used in the live action trailer. I've been enjoying it. Don't know if you will. I linked it to Paul and Space, and they both enjoyed it. I think he's done 2 or 3 parts of it now, and there's one part that'll probably happen next week just before the release. So yeah, if you want a cool little thing on Starfield, and you're into that practical effects stuff, so yeah.
Also, Mythbusters was also what Adam Savage was
that's him.
Well known for.
Yeah, Mythbusters. Oh, his channel is called Adam Savage's Tested, or it's called Tested or whatever. He's got like 6 million subs. Anyway, the next question.
Monster AV says, speaking of which, speaking of what, as well as with them possibly putting in the scanning cutter and not putting chips in without gameplay, think they'll put scanning in soon.
Possible. We know that they showed it off earlier in the year when they were scanning in, I think they were in an Avenger or something like that, and they were scanning. So, yeah, possibly. But I think the other part, like me and Algared have talked about this a lot, and you feel free to disagree with me, Algared, if you did. But I think what they're trying to go for with that, to show that's got gameplay now, is that it has a bigger cargo area than the other 2 cutters, but no actual cargo grids. And I think that is, if you combine the scanning with the vehicle, it means you could put a rock or a future other utility vehicle, so, you know, say a salvage reclamation vehicle, you know, whatever small ships they decide to put in it. And so basically you can scan, think about it from a mining perspective, scan, find a rock, land, pull it out. So essentially it's what the people wanted the Nomad to be. You know, everyone's kind of jerry-legging that in the back, but it's more dedicated to exactly, and it could have even come from that. They're like, oh, look what all these people are doing for the Nomad. Oh, let's just make a ship that does that.
Let's make another ship that does that properly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's a dedicated ship to smaller vehicles.
And people, like, you know, that people wanted that from the beginning, because even at the beginning they said, and the Rock can take a PTV. Not a PTV, but a Rock. You know, it was made so the back could take that.
Yep.
So it was blatantly obvious that's what people wanted to use for. And the cutters just, that Explorer one with the space for a vehicle just makes it nice. And then depending on the vehicles they put in, that gives you the ability to make that cutter do everything. It gives you a chance to test out mining without having a mining ship. It gives you an ability to test out salvage without having a salvage ship. So 100.
I think something else that we can probably talk about here to Algared just really quickly, and if you don't want to, just let me know. But I honestly think, based on what we saw in Invictus, based on what we know is happening this year, I would not be expecting, how do I put this, a barrage of high quality ships. I think a lot of what we're going to be getting is variants and things like that. There might be one or two original ships, but I think most, you can kind of lay out what's coming. Santoki Eye, the Spirit, the A1. So they're going to be relying on things that are complete going in, and they're going to be relying on variants, because variants are just easier to do. They take their, as you and I have talked about, they can use them as training for people.
Yeah,
we know that
I 100% think it's the training of new teams,
because they're building up those new teams. So me and Algared are kind of in agreement with that. But I think you got to remember, because of Squadron 42, don't go in expecting the same. What happened at Invictus? Take that, bit bigger for AIE and CitizenCon, but do not expect. I don't think it's new ships this year. I think the big talkaway this year is going to be Squadron 42. That is the big takeaway.
And if you do get big, look, I always go in with the assumption we're not getting anything.
Yep.
There you go. And then when you get something, you go, woohoo!
Yeah, so there's some others that I missed. So the SRV's one, and the X1 is another one. So you can see that's a new vehicle. So there's a vehicle in the XR1. The SRV's been done for over 12 months now, type of thing. The Santoki Eye. So the LX Fury. That's the other new ship. They're talking about a new ship. There's the Fury. So I'm almost expecting, I shit you not, at CitizenCon, you know how they're talking about the plushie that we get in there? I reckon it'll just be a Fury. Everyone gets a Fury plushie, is what I'm expecting. So,
someone did make the point in the video when they're talking about the packs, and they're talking about the redacted stuff. We don't know yet. But it's probably the Ship Showdown winners. So it's all related to the Ship Showdown and the winners of that, because
so what do you
they
mean,
don't know who's winning it. Well, you've got the ship skins that are, or the ship plushies that are redacted.
Oh no, that'll be, because it actually says redacted, because it'll more than likely be a new ship. When they use the word redacted in the past, think about that. I'm going to be honest with you. I would hope that it's the 2 cutter variants at CitizenCon, because I think that's a more better rounded ship that is more accessible. Based on you taking a racing ship, I just don't see them using that as the primary ship for CitizenCon. They'd want a ship that kind of speaks to more people, and I think the variants of the cutter will do that more. When you look at those ones there, you tell me what you think. But I think the Fury will fall back into AIE personally. But everything that Eminence listed there, plus the other one, I can't remember what was the other one I listed, but the Spirit and the things like that, they're all going to come as well. But SRV X1 cutter variants. We need one more new thing. It's good. There's definitely one ship missing. They need 4, because you've got to have one for CitizenCon, and then usually 2 or 3 for AIE. I guess it could be just those 3. Yeah, that might be it. SRV, X1, and cutter. But the SRV is not new. So there is one missing. So you've got the X1, which is no, that's a completed thing too. Shit. So the only new thing is the Fury and the cutter. So we're missing one thing.
There might be a new one.
Yeah.
But I could see though that those things that they don't mention or name specifically in that gift pack for CitizenCon are based on our Ship Showdown variants, because they don't know which ship's going to win yet. they could guess, but they don't necessarily know. So they can't say, oh, it's going to be a cutter variant, because we don't know that it's going to be cutter. Because so could be that, could be something else. But anyway,
Yeah.
Monster AV. Speaking, cutters, yeah, we've done that one. Sorry, Nova 42. Did the bot get my monthly subscription message question? I have no idea, so probably not.
Monthly subscription message? No shit. No.
So, scrolling up, no. So ask your question again, Monster AV, and we'll see if we can find it. All right.
I missed it. Sorry, bud. The bot.
MPCDN said, why say you want to hurt funding? This is bad for the game. Again, no, it's not saying we want to hurt funding. It's saying we want to get marketing to pay attention.
And it's not hurting it. It's if anything, it's trying to improve it. So what we're trying to say is, like, you are doing it this particular way and it blows. Why can't you make it better for you and better for us, and therefore better? Everyone's happy. We want a win-win situation rather than a win-lose type of thing. Yeah.
So yeah. North End Trooper.
Actually, that's just real quick. Lemming made a really good point. The RSI minor as a concept, that could be for CitizenCon, or actually also that could be the because if you think about the year the Pioneer and the Hammerhead came out, it could also be the CitizenCon one. Depends how they go to do that. So we'll see.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Lemming, good remembering.
Yep. North End Trooper's question. It's almost been a week since 320 has been in PTU wave with waves 1 2. Per CIG, the waves would be coming out faster. Do you think it should be in wave 1 2 now, or have waves 3 or 4 out?
I think we're already up to wave 1 and 2.
That's what he's saying. Yeah. And he's saying it's been about a week, so shouldn't we be on wave 3 or 4?
I tend to agree that's what they talked about, but obviously they've got something. They said they'll also release it when they've got things to test. So obviously they've still got enough people playing it, or they were bullshitting us the whole way along. I don't know. We'll figure. While
I understand what they were trying to do, I hate the idea of rushing testing and saying, "Oh, we'll push it to wave 2 or 3, 3 days later."
Yeah, it's definitely not ready for the masses. I'm having a massive bug that no one else is having. And there are multiple people having bugs. I've talked to people that couldn't spawn ships from ASOP terminals. I've had people that just basically got sick of it. And that's kind of what happens. Like, if you got a really big bug and you've persisted for, an hour or two and you can't get to work, people log off and then they'll log on the next day and continue. So I've had people persist and they've got in. I'm persisting, but my bug is really weird and very unique, but it's happened to other people. But basically in the past, once I log in, if I crash or log out, I have to actually recopy my account across to the PTU to be able to get back in on my own. Otherwise, I can only join on someone off my friends list. I can play Arena Commander totally fine, and because of that, most of the patches are Arena Commander anyway, so I'm kind of okay.
I can play Arena Commander. I can't get into the world. The world doesn't exist.
So you're doing the same thing. Oh, you got the same thing as me. Oh, welcome to the club. Fucking sucks.
The world has never loaded. The world. I think the other day I said, "Hey," when you said, "Oh, if you want to get in," and I said, "I can't get in a game. It's just
add people
to your Commander.
Add people to your friends list and then join off them. It works."
So, but yeah, so that's the issue I've got, and the world just doesn't exist in PTU. But I've always said I don't think that you should just push PTU out. You push it out when it's ready. At
we got a first time chatter on Twitch that says Zen Zora TV. I have an idea for performance with SC. Make servers 50 people instead of 100 on the servers. Servers are so much better when they are low ping. But the thing is, mate, and the reason why they won't is it's all about money. If you have to have 2 servers to run 100 people, you're paying double the amount. So you'll notice every chance they've had to increase the number of people, they've taken it because it just lowers their costs. And that means they've got more money to make the game. And at the end of the
they got with Amazon,
and at the end of the day, what they're doing is just smoke and mirrors for us to play so they can get Squadron 42 out the door. So that it's not, and that's why we keep saying there's not enough game there, because there isn't. It is literally a glorified demo at the moment. And what is coming to what we have now is literally, I can't say more than night and day, but it's a lot more than night and day. We got a fraction, like we wouldn't even have 1% of what it's going to end up being. So yeah.
Yeah. Daily noob. Question statement. Keep everything from master modes except the gimbal changes and auto aim, and it would be perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
You're not recording.
We're not in recording.
Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry, Gotcho. Yeah, we're live on stream, mate. Say hello and then fuck off.
Goodbye. Sorry.
Yep.
That's my fault. No, that's my fault. I didn't move his channel. Oh, I can fix that real quick. Just so it doesn't happen again. Hold on.
There you go. Now if he joins us, he can't talk.
Yep. That's fine. Yep. He wanted he caught up with me. He said he wanted to catch up with me, so that's my fault.
All right.
Yep.
So yeah, Daily Noob's statement about the master mode. So we finally got to that.
Mm-hmm.
Axis 0096 says, how many storm variants do you think we might end up with? Probably the same number of cyclones or maybe more.
That's true. I never even thought of that. Like changing the. Well, they haven't got any variants of the Nova, do they?
No.
And they don't have any variants of the. That's a tough one. Maybe we don't get variants of those tanks. That's really hard to. Could they do in the future? Absolutely. And that I'm going to be honest. That's a question I'd put towards Badgers or one of the other military guys. To be honest.
I could see they give us as many variants of the Storm as they give us of the Atlas. There you go. I wouldn't say doing variants of a Storm like the little vehicles, but I could see them doing it for ships like the vehicles like the Atlas or and then the other question is how many variants of a Nova are we going to get? If you're going to get variants of a Storm, then you want variants of a Nova, and I don't think they'll do that. That'll just be
they can
heavy tank.
They can do a variant of any ship or vehicle that they choose to, and it's their game. It's that simple. So
and if there's a market, I think if there's a market for it, they think it'll sell. They'll make it.
Look forward to the 880F soon. It's the pirate version of the 890J. That's why it stands for 880 failure. I don't know. I'm making this up as going along, but they could do that, couldn't they? And I remember, like, there were people that hadn't even thought of that. I remember when we had we were talking to Griffin and God, I'm butchering. I forgot the guy's name. Stim, and they had never even comprehended someone taking an 890 jump and turning it into a pirate ship. I said that is absolutely going to happen with the components on board and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and, there'll be pirate skins for everything eventually. And
well, it's I've said all along, having a pirate ship being sold is stupid because real pirates will use whatever ship does the job and suits the bill that they've got their hands on.
What's that line about desperation? I can't remember how it goes, but desperate times call for desperate measures. That's it.
Yep.
I'd actually hope that eventually there's a pirate variant of every ship in the game.
Yep. Necessity is the mother of invention is the other.
That's another good one. Yeah, absolutely. So I'd actually hope they go back and do that eventually. At least in skins, or you can make your own pirate skin or something like that. So yeah.
My concern is not the ship that looks like a pirate ship. But the ship that doesn't look like a pirate ship.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just reading what Monster Avery said. He said he thinks there's a comment on leaks saying they found a Storm AA in the files. That would not surprise me. An AA, a really zippy AA gun sounds freaking amazing. That would be awesome. Absolutely. I wouldn't rule that out at all. And as I said, we are missing one new thing, if that is the one new thing. But also, the other thing I want to point out is the last two sales, as a sale's about to come along, there's been red herrings. We had the Sulian and we had the Argo MCV. Neither eventuated. Now, that's not to say they won't eventuate later on, and they were used as red herrings. So when they eventually turn up again, people go, no, bullshit, they're red herrings. So just add them to the list, but go, put it at a list over here, like, yeah, maybe in the future, maybe not. And I think that's how they're dealing with leaks now. They're putting out possible future things that may be real, maybe not. Because if you think about it, if it's a double entendre where they put something real out but then don't release it, you know, a year down the line when it actually does appear, people will dismiss it again. So it just puts that level of, you know, doubt. They're putting doubt out there is the word I'm looking for. So yeah. Yeah.
So Crick says, are either of you two interested in base building colonization in Star Citizen? Yes.
Yeah. Yes, very much so. Daily Noob saying he's looking forward to his favorite variant of the Nova tank with air brakes. Okay, air brake tank. I could see that. Right. What was the question?
The question was, are either of you two interested in base building colonization in Star Citizen? And people have often said to me, I've got nothing to play for. And I've often said that, you know, I don't care about grinding ships. I want to go to a settlement that's struggling and build it up. Because Chris Roberts has always said, you go to a settlement that's struggling and there'll be litter, there'll be graffiti, there'll be broken windows, there'll be closed shops, etc. As a settlement is progressing well, you'd actually see the litter get cleaned up, the shops open, broken windows be fixed, and that would, and he indicated, and this is way back, but he indicated that would be the way you could actually tell whether a settlement was thriving or struggling. And so I want to go to a settlement that's struggling and build it up so it's thriving. That's my goal. I'd like to even build a settlement and build that into a proper settlement that thrives. So yeah.
Algared the humanitarian. So yeah. Right, I was just looking to see if I could actually find stuff on this. I'm on the leaks Discord. Looking real quick. You go on to the next question, Algared. I'll have a quick look. See if I can find
I am. Aaron said, that's a good question about the Terrapin. CIG can't even answer that question. What was a good question about the Terrapin? I have no idea. So I'm sorry, Aaron, you really do need, when you ask us questions, unlike on Paul's channel or anywhere else where we answer the questions straight away, you actually really do need to give us some context because it's usually an hour later when we get to it. So please put your question in with a bit of context and we'll try and get to it.
Okay, so they posted it in text and said Storm AA found in the files, but they didn't post. Normally they have normally they have an image to prove that. There is no actual image. That's the first time I've ever seen them not post the lines of code. So that I will take that with a grain of salt until I actually see the image of the code. Not to be too skeptical, but it's already a leak. So come on, show me the evidence. But yeah, that fills out the 4 then. You know, so you got the X1, the Fury LX, the 2 Carter variants, and a Storm AA.
Yep.
So it's like based on that, we're probably getting the Storm AA for CitizenCon. Because they did do 2 vehicles at Invictus though, but generally they don't do 2 vehicles. So yeah.
So Aaron Johnson's next question is, have either of you tried or played BG3? And if so, what is your quick input about it? It's fun.
I think for the industry, it's incredibly important. The thing that really shitted me about wasn't Baldur's Gate 3 that shitted me. It was the journalists trying to jump on it and penny pinch for new jobs and, you know, jump up and down for the publishers to say we should not demand high quality games without money, microtransactions. They just came off as corporate shills. And the PC Gamer gave it a score of 97. They have not given a score of 97 since 2007. Right?
It is a good game.
And it deserves it. And why should we demand games without microtransactions in them? We should absolutely demand games without microtransactions in them. Put the core cost of the game up if you want to do that. My brother was talking to me about Grand Theft Auto 6, and apparently there was some leak on some website, like on the Xbox store or some shit, and the cost of the game for Grand Theft Auto 6 when it went up in the store was $500. And he's now absolutely terrified that they're going to sell Grand Theft Auto for $600. Now, I don't know about you, but if they had no microtransactions at all, and it was $500, I could still people buying that. just so they don't have to put up with all the microtransaction bullshit. But literally everything would have to be free. Every skin, everything. But I don't know. It'd have to be a game you'd really want to play. Algared, what's your thoughts on that with the whole
Baldur's Gate 3,
mm-hmm.
to my knowledge, I haven't come across any microtransactions in the game that I have to pay money for. It's got nice graphics.
Yep.
It's got a great story. It's got a nice storyline. It is a typical D&D campaign.
Bug free as well. That was the other big thing. Bugs free, microtransaction free, runs really well.
There are a few bugs in it, but they're fairly minor.
Yeah. And a lot of the blowback from journalists was like, "Oh, it was in early access for 3 years." But early access is just it's just how people develop games when they don't have QA teams, when they've got smaller teams. Yep. It saves them money. So I thought that was a really low jab. And this is was a very small team. I'm sure they've got a lot of money now. And believe it or not, Xbox is moving goalposts to try and get the game out earlier because there's 2 consoles and one's about, not as powerful as the other. They couldn't get the split screen co-op working on it, right? So basically they've said, look, we'll let you release it now without the co-op, but we want you to go back and get it to work in that time. So at least because what people were doing, there were people literally handing in their Xboxes to buy PlayStations, but there are also people handing in their PlayStations to buy Xboxes for Starfield. So it's a mismatch. So yeah.
So the other thing with Baldur's Gate 3 is you can play it solo. So it is a standard, normal game, but you can also invite 3 friends and play with 3 friends and be a party of 3 friends of 4.
Okay, so 2 things I got to address from chat. Straight off the bat, 400 people is not big by massive publisher standards, but it is definitely bigger than indie. But they still did a lot with 400 people. As for the Xbox versus PlayStation debate, it just solved the whole problem. Get a bloody PC. Problem solved.
Get a PC.
Console. I want the message that was in the original Kickstarter trailer of they've said the rumors of my death are gradually exaggerated to be the opposite. I want consoles to be dead. Quite frankly, I want it the other way around.
My view is the only value of a console is putting Arena Commander on console and selling it for a shit ton so that ships can be cheaper. There you go.
They won't do that, but yeah.
Of course not. But
all right.
That's my dream. Hey, we can dream.
Yes, you can dream.
Next question. The next question is Daily Noob. Did you notice the Hurston Elite Guards on the PTU armor is now Snow White?
Yes, they've changed a lot of skins on the bunkers and different things like that as well. There's also a lot of bug stuff. I know Henkin wears a particular suit. I was talking to him.
Yep.
And his suit doesn't work anymore. I remember I used to wear that black and gold one all the time, and then I stopped wearing it because the pants went orange. I think it's just some of the things are getting, left behind and haven't been updated again when they come back. And
I just think that, the Hurston Elite Guard in white, it's because Hurston Guards are pure. Hurston is a pure company. They don't do anything naughty or wrong or illegal.
That's why they have lots of evil villains that are in pure white movies now. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Next question, Algared.
Okay. Nova 42's. Does no one recognise the phrase "no skinning game" from the previous question?
Context.
Sorry.
Yeah. Next question. Sorry.
Tom Van Duren says, do you guys know if a Reclaimer also gets new skins?
No, it won't because it didn't make it to the top 4.
Has to be the top 4 to get it.
It already has. It only ever got one Best in Show skin, but it did get one. So, be happy with the one that you were given. So,
And we finally got to Luminalia saying, I'm back. Did you answer my question? And yes, we did.
Yes.
And we answered it twice just for you because you were back. See how much you're loved. You might think we ignore you when you say, hey, do my episode. But there you go. We answer your question and made sure, and twice even. Starfield sounds like Morrowind to me. What do you think about this? And that's from Mr. Radio 2K5. To me, it sounds like Fallout in space. But yep. It's a Bethesda game.
Look what senior citizen rocked up. John turned up. He's only 2 hours late.
Yeah, you're lucky that I could actually be here and wasn't dying with.
Well, the funny, ironic
pain.
thing is, he goes, "When is it?" And I go, "Tomorrow at this time." Essentially, how do you get it wrong when I go tomorrow at this time? Anyway, like, is he the time warp? I think so. Anyway,
he's not the doctor.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's for sure. All right.
Okay. Badud Josh. No, Badud.
Badum dum tush. Badum dum tush.
Badum tush.
Badud J Hosh, I think is what it is. Official.
Either maggot of a name.
It's official. What, the other name was taken? Are you serious?
It's official, but it's official that it's a horrid name.
How is that name taken? And they had to go _official. Anyway, sorry, not to mock you, but that's
okay. There seems to be, because he made the character before, and then he forgot his password, so he had to make it again.
That's what it is. Yes.
Question. There seem to be 3 added bars at the top of a new visa HUD in the PTU. What do you think they stand for?
One of them is definitely heat, one of them is definitely energy, and the middle one's the one I'm having trouble figuring out. It's got these kind of arrows. Daily Noob might know. He's been in there fairly. If you know what the middle one is, Noob, let me know. Or if anyone knows what it is, just put it in chat and say, or statement.
Yep. Oddball's hubby channel says Barakama also got skins in the Dolvanite skin pack as well.
This is true. Yeah, got 3 other ones. Yeah, absolutely. There you go. And they're about $30 each, but I don't. That's if you buy the entire pack. I think the Reclaimer is the most expensive one in that set, though.
Yep. But some of those skins in that pack look pretty good.
The middle one is sound.
Sound.
Yeah, heat, sound, and energy, and they're your 3 signatures.
Yep.
So if you want to be silent, you keep them all down, or hidden, I should say.
Yep. Ray Louderback says, should the cutter have been a consolidated ship? Would it have been a good consolidated outland ship?
My running theory is the Expedition was the one they had to build, and it was originally an Aegis ship that they've converted to a Drake ship. I'll die on that hill. We'll see. Come whenever it comes.
Would it have been? Would the cutter have been a good consolidated ship? I could have seen it have been a consolidated ship if they hadn't been pushing the line that consolidated were more the stupidness of Elon Musk.
But the Mustang already exists too.
Yeah, the Mustang exists, and then you've got the kind of weird truck that he does in the Nova. So look, they can make a new ship anything. Could you make a case for the cutter being a RSI ship? Yep. Could you have made a case for it being a Drake ship? Absolutely. Could you make it a case for it being an Argo? Yep. So you just change the design language inside a little bit, and you've got the ship. So yeah. Monster Ravy says, we answered his question. Thank you for letting us know that.
Luna Maria just told us that her new ship, she's going to call it the Shelley. I'll let you figure out the rest of what she actually brought.
I must have bought it a Reclaimer, a Redeemer. So,
if you want to thank us, Luna Maria, that's what you call it, the Shelley.
Yeah. Yeah. The Shelley, all the Lore Master. Yeah, I've rattled it. Anyway, Nova42 says, who do you think is going to win round 2 of each bout of Ship Showdown? I think we already done that.
Yep.
Go back and have a look at the beginning. Mustrom Woodcully has a question. Do you think the extra ship will be the Spirit A1C1? Will they come early?
No, so again, they're going to be new ships, not finishing production ships, and that's what I was trying to get at. And it wasn't until someone mentioned that Storm AA was there a ship or vehicle that I hadn't heard of, and I think that's it.
Yep.
It gives you the 4.
Yep. Yeah, they'll be anything's possible, but I think the A1 C1 being there as well, it's unlikely. Nova 42, that was my question, but I think, yeah, okay, thank you again. And we've got 4 left, and
Algared,
you've got.
I'm just wondering, could they make Origin the main manufacturer at AIE this year, and use it to push the X1?
They could,
because they've never had a reason to make Origin the main manufacturer. Just saying.
Yeah, if they're bringing out the A1, they could. Have we heard any new?
The X1.
Yeah, the X1. That's what I meant.
Bike,
Sorry, that's what I meant. I knew you were talking bike. I was thinking bike. I just got the letter wrong. Are there any other new Origin ships that we've had? Are there any variations we could have?
The shop ship that you and I talked about. So anyone I can.
Yeah, it could be a shop ship.
What are the numbers
Hospital
left?
ship.
There's a 200 and a 700 and a 500.
Well,
They're the 3 numbers left.
Put them in.
Yeah.
I personally think they just need to redo the whole numbering system. You know, you got the 85X, you got the.
Absolutely agree.
You know, what's the M50. But then you got the 100, then you got the 300, and you got the 600, and you got the 890. You know, and down the bottom you've got so many small ships. Oh, you know, the 85X, the M50, the 100, and the 300 almost really jump down to that beginner level, and then you got a dearth.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, good. You guys mentioned that ships fighting systems earlier. How do you think that would affect ground vehicles for combat?
Much the same.
Same issues.
Yeah. You can well, let's look at it if it was a racing game. I shoot you in the tire, you can't go. If I shoot you in the, through the glass and into the cockpit, if you're on a planet that's got full of chemicals and I take out your cockpit, you're stuffed. It's the same thing.
Well, at the moment, you can even see how it affects the vehicle combats because you can go into Arena Commander and do the tank games. Or you can go into Arena Commander and do the Master Mode flight games. So you can see how it's going to impact and do stuff. The question, I think, that I don't think Arena Commander addresses at the moment is how ships versus vehicles will be changed or impacted. So that'll be an interesting one.
Next question.
Luminalia says, are we ever going to get interactive NPCs? Yes.
Down the road. Can't tell you when.
Yeah, can't tell you when, but yes. Vega 13 says, if the 890 jump made it to the top 4, would they be required to allow everyone to purchase it like they did in the past? I did hear that if the 890 jump had made it, it was not getting a CCU.
There you go.
Now talk about hobbling a ship in the Ship Showdown competition.
True.
That's already hobbled before the voting even starts.
If they'd given it a CCU, it would have got. Well, put it this way, it'll be the Pioneer. No.
If it had been given a CCU to be able to get to that ship, and what would you CCU an 890 jump to? Would have been the problem.
No, you would have been going to the 890, so you would have gone from like a Polaris to an 890 or something like that.
So, but having a CCU.
But the reason they won't is because they know how they stuffed up their own system. Like you could take that $95 Carrack, and for $200, it's a $300 890 jump.
Yeah, which is cheaper than the original $600 890 jump.
And I think that's why they wouldn't do it.
Yep. I think I've got to say, I think you probably pooed the pooch.
Yeah. When
you pointed out, hey, there's an 890 the Carrack for $95 because it did shock.
Well, they just so you know, in that thing we talked about, right? The ex-employee, he brought that up. He brought that up in this, so they definitely know what they've done now. Right now, I don't know if it's we brought it to their attention or everyone brought it to their attention, but it's now to their attention. That's the main thing. Yeah, that was a big thing I forgot to talk about. This guy brought to my attention that they know some of the things we've been talking about, and that's why I thought it was important.
Yeah. Like well, we know they know some of the things we've talked about because we've spoken to them and said,
"Yep,
this is the case." His argument for steel was nothing to. I don't think was really anything to do with. You know, they put the money up because okay, at this price we're changing it. It's got to be more expensive than that. But I think the steel was originally done to function in something like theaters of war as a respawn ship. It wasn't. It had a different function than but just being a dropship because it sucks as a dropship and it's a typical Drake ship for being rubbish. In the original way Drake ships were originally talked about, and I'm not saying Drake ships are rubbish, but in that old, you know what I mean. The way they always just say Drake ships can't, no armor, overgun, blah blah. That really fits that thing. It's a flying coffin for 20 people with overguns when it shouldn't be any more overgunned and loses cargo. It's just it's a piece of. As I heard recently, and I prefer this statement to saying the other one, but bovine excrement. Do like that. So, yeah. So much nicer. And if you haven't turned the bot off, now's probably a good time because we're on our last question. And Akala Bellany says, do you feel that Starfield will influence any of the future gameplay ideas for Star Citizen?
Absolutely. There is, like, one of the things you hear a lot in movies is there's no new concept anymore. It's all reworking of old ideas. And you can go back through every video game, movie, and you can see cross-pollination. Just yesterday, actually, I was watching a streamer. There's a new, Dead by Daylight. I don't play it, but I have a lot of interest in it because it's just how phenomenal it is, as in, like, there's a lot of people that play it. And they brought out the alien from Aliens and Ripley, and they put them in the game, right? And the streamer that was playing it, there was a skin for the Queen, and it had the two little it's got the two little hands on the stomach, and he goes, there is no way that the Demigorgon is not influenced by the Queen, because there's two little hands where the Queen are, and on the Demigorgon, it's almost like two little things, but they're sideways. And that's just an example. So they've So when they built the Demigorgon, maybe they were thinking a bit of the alien, and then they twisted it, made it a nightmare instead of an alien, or whatever they've done. And you can definitely see. Look at Geiger, all the alien stuff. How many things there's an entire game called I can't remember the name of it, but it's built off Geiger's art. It's on Steam. What the hell is the name of that game? Someone will drop it in chat. But yeah, they all influence each other. That's how the world works for all time.
In terms of the game, but the gameplay of Starfield influencing the future gameplay of Star Citizen.
Yep.
They may influence the way they look at doing things, but in terms of what we're doing, no, because we know that's. And the reason I say that is not because I'm trying to pee on Starfield, but I'm saying that because of the way Chris has often said, this is where we're going, this is what we want to do. It's been fairly detailed and fairly laid out. They want to do pretty much everything.
Yeah. Luda Maria, remind me of the name of that game. It's called Scorn. Graphically, very cool looking game, especially if you're in the Geiger. Sorry. Yeah.
Now, John Ski does have a question in YouTube. He popped it in just after you closed off the bot. Because, yes, we've closed off the bot because you guys didn't answer enough questions. And we're finishing early today. Which is
what Algared wants to do, so he's back.
Which I want to do. If you can't tell, I'm shifting in the seat because it's getting rather painful and yeah. But his question is there any value in buying a Javelin before the game eventually launches?
Absolutely.
That's almost sacrilegious, John, saying when the game eventually launches. If you have 3,000 in credit lying around.
So the easiest way to explain this is they've priced a lot of the really big capital ships so a single person can buy them, but big org ships like that are really designed for someone to grow out and grind them. And when I interviewed Chris, and he's come out and said this in future times, the example he gave, he gave an Aurora, a Constellation, and an Idris, and he said an Aurora will be roughly the same, a Constellation will be about 5 times as much, and then something like an Idris would be 10 times as much. So if you take that capital ship and apply it to the Javelin at $3,000, it'll be equivalent to $30,000, right? Now, you'll never be able to buy it at $30,000 because it'll be in game by then. But if you have to actually get 30 people to work together to earn a Javelin, you can see that it's going to take a long amount of time. So essentially, you are removing that grind for yourself and setting yourself up with a ship at the top and working your way down or sideways. And that is the true benefit of it. You're removing a lot of that grind. And a real simple image I use all the time, and Algared will know the one I'm talking about. There's someone posted on Reddit of a Carrack at the top and an M50 at the bottom and about 5 or 6 ships between. And you can just simply look at that and you can go, I took the Carrack and I earned this, and then I used this ship to earn this. And so he was stepping down earning, right? But you could still take the Carrack and earn multiple of the smaller ships. But you take that ship at the bottom, the M50, and you imagine how long it's going to take you to earn the ship up the top. A very long time.
Yeah, and my own personal example is from Xenothreat. I did Xenothreat in the Aurora, and I was making bank. You know, it was just being there. I was getting paid the hourly fee for being in the Aurora. I was doing stuff. I was getting paid for the victories. Yep, great. Making money hand over fist, helping with the loading and cargo stuff, everything. Took for a Retaliator out. Even before I changed the missiles.
I'll let him come back. I know the story. I've heard it 1,000 times before. Retaliator good, Aurora sucks. Long story short.
Yeah, but it was I made more money with one run on the Reclaimer with the Retaliator with the upgraded missiles than I did in several runs on the Aurora. It was blew my mind. So
really quickly, because I've got it in my head and I need to get it out. We were talking about older franchises and stuff. One of the original science fiction films that they think is a real precursor to Star Wars and Star Trek and things like that was actually a book that Disney tried to make into a movie, and it's famously one of the biggest flops they've ever made until recently, which I think has now been taken over by Indiana Jones and the dullness of destiny. They called it John Carter, but the original book title, which was written back in the 20s or something like that, so it's really long, or even the 1990s or something. It was really long time ago. It was called Princess of Mars, and that led on because it flowed out from the Westerns, and John's saying that in Twitter too, because like Westerns moved into science fiction, so it kind of goes with the times as things move on, and eventually sci-fi will probably move into something more, you know, as the time moves on. So yeah,
I can remember seeing an interview or a commentary where George Lucas was talking about Star Wars.
Yeah,
and he talked about he wanted basically cowboys and Indians in space, and he wanted the it was deliberate, but he had the, you know, the Darth Vader in black because he wanted the black hat white hat type idea for the good guys and bad guys, and so.
Yeah, and he definitely drew on World War II. Like the Imperials are very German, kind of Nazi-like, and the rebels are very much, you know, the freedom fighters, and almost like the French Revolution. Not the French Revolution, you know, the French freedom fighters in World War II. Yeah, a bit like that. So you can see all the influence, and you got to remember he made this stuff back in the in the 70s, and he probably was thinking about it, you know, 10 years before that. So this is only 40 years after that stuff. So it's probably heavily influenced him. You know, way more than it would you or I. Like, you know, we came after that, so yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so to go back to your question, John, yeah, I think there's a value in getting the 890, not the 890, well, getting that as well, but value having the Javelin even before game launches, mainly because it is an auction. You buy it. You know, and I got it specifically with the org in view.
And I think you definitely want to have an org behind you, though. That's the only thing. Or at least a plan to have a lot of friends. That said, I think if you have one, you'll find some. Because it's like, well, I could go own it on my own with my friends, or I could just make friends with this guy and join him.
Although I have thought of just using it as a storage facility. Algared's hangar. Algared's cargo repository, you know, it's just But yeah, that's only because I've got the ship, not rather than buying it for that purpose. But yeah. So yeah, because we killed the bot, we've got no more questions. So we've got to engage with the chat now.
All right. Well, that's good because that'll give me about an hour and a half to go get some food. Might have a bit of a power nap.
Yep.
And we'll
half an hour earlier than we're going to end, but that's good because my back is.
Yep. So yeah.
Yeah. It's difficult.
And I'll jump on later and play Starfield. Yeah. So yeah. I don't know if you guys will even be awake then, because a lot of you guys in the States, so it'll be fairly late for you guys. But we'll see what happens.
Well,
so, yeah.
The other option is, given that people have indicated Baldur's Gate, I have got it. I have played it. If people want to see it live streamed or want to join,
well, even maybe we can go. Like, we don't stream it. We'll just go join Daily Noob and play with him.
In fact, I was just going to say maybe join Daily Noob and get him and do a threesome with Daily Noob. Yes, I as I was saying that, I think, oh no, X is going to, no. And your expression.
Whatever floats your boat, old man Hurston. There's an upgrade to the Uwu girls I never saw coming. Right. Daily Noob, you got to dress up like an Uwu girl now. Just be careful though, so yeah. But yeah, the other thing we were talking about Noob doing as well was the tabletop simulator and playing Witcher Old World as well. So maybe down the line, if any of you guys are into board games, where me and Algared both brought that game, Witcher Old World, and we've played it with Daily Noob, and it's quite fun. So we're looking. I'm definitely looking for some people to play with. If you're into board games, and we'll maybe on the Discord we'll schedule a time and get a couple of us together. So
I'm still blown away by the quality of those figures as well. They are.
Yep. Yeah, so good little game. They've made a good little mod on Tabletop Simulator. So if you've got Tabletop Simulator, feel free to reach out to me or Algared, and if we can get a couple of people together at a time, or I've got a lot more free time than Algared, but yeah, definitely reach out to me if you're interested. Even if it's just one of you, we can have a game on Tabletop Simulator if we're free. All right. Is there anything we're going to add, Algared? I think we've just got the
like, subscribe, hit the bell button.
Yep.
And yeah, if you like Baldur's Gate 3 Luminalia, since I've seen your chat mention there, yeah, hit me up. If you got it, I'm quite happy to do that. Or yeah, it's a 4-player game, so.
I think with that, then yeah, we will have a show this week. We've got a few ideas floating around.
Yep.
So
yes, Luminalia, we do. I'm beating you to the punch, Luminalia. So I'm not going to push you down a week, but yes, we do have your episode
in the
on the cards, in the list of things we're going to do.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
So yeah, it always just comes to what we feel like doing at the time. So we'll see.
Yep.
All right. With that, then you guys have a good one. It's the first time we finished early in a while. But yeah, we've got 69 viewers. Woo! On YouTube. Yeah. All right, we got a raid on Twitch, don't we? So we'll cut it over to Twitch, and I will very quickly find someone. I am a little bit out of it today because I'm.
Paul is probably still streaming.
Well, we'll go raid Paul then. We don't get to raid Paul too often, so we'll probably.
So let's see if Paul's up doing Starfield. In which case, you guys can go and see what Starfield's like. Yeah. If he's still running.
Yeah. Twitch. Let's have a look. Let's throw.
No Worries Luminalia and Soulmint. Oh, Soul Unit, sorry, and SA and Vegas 13.
No, he stopped streaming 7 hours ago, so he's not streaming it right now.
He was streaming when I at 5, so he must have been doing something.
Let's have a quick look. Maybe we'll return the favor. The other week, Arc VR rated us, so we'll rate him back. So that's
why not?
Polite thing to do. So we'll do that. Arc.
So when you get there, ask him what he's looking forward to.
He's a VTuber, so he actually looks like a Vandal Algared when he streams, which is kind of yeah. So yeah. So tell him
ask him he's looking forward to.
Tell him Algared wants to fight him. Which alley that he's after me?
Ask him if he's looking forward to being smashed by Admiral Bishop's fleet. There you go.
All right. Bye Twitch. YouTube. Say goodbye to Twitch. Bye.
Bye Twitch.
So there goes.
You're gone.
There goes Twitch. As for YouTube, yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. It's been Algared.
He's been Execute, and we're out of here. Take care.
Bye.